Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the final day of Western Europe Div 1 Spring Tour. We are here Sunday night. I'm going to be your host, Nat T. Joining me is T-Gov and Lizard. Guys, it is the final night of regular season. I say regular because we know we're going to get tiebreakers. Yep. We can talk about that later down the track. But yeah, we'll only have one series tonight as well, so it's going to be potentially a short night. How excited are you guys to round out Spring Tour?
Super excited and
no, the answer is sad.
Same time, very sad because
yeah.
it's the last day. Like it went by so fast, didn't it?
No, there's going to be infinite tiebreakers.
Oh, okay.
Look, yeah, we'll talk about tiebreakers eventually. We will get there because Friday night we have to look back. We have to have a chat about the 3 series that occurred over there. It was the final series for some of the teams playing. Actually, it was the final series for only one team who played later in the night. It started off with Nigma Galaxy up against Gaming Gladiators, and we were talking about how upset we were that we weren't getting 3-game series. Everything was a nice, quick 2-0 despite how close this region is. But finally, on the second last day, Nigma Galaxy and Gaming Gladiator delivered with this 3-game barn burner of a series.
And my barn was burnt watching this because Nigma in Game 1, they looked quite stellar. And unfortunately, they weren't able to get it over the line in Game 2 and 3. Yeah, it was burnt because of Nigma. Yeah, it's, insurance is really difficult nowadays.
Yeah,
Probably won't get the money back.
Rough.
I do have to
Nigma
say,
won't get their major slots. You know, it's a lose-lose.
That's like watching Enigma qualify as an excuse, like as a...
Kinda.
It could. Look, this Game 1, though, Nigma Galaxy looked fantastic. I was actually really worried for Gaming Gladiators during this game because I've never seen Nigma Galaxy come into a series so confidently and up against an opponent like Gaming Gladiators Lizard. Like, these guys have absolutely dominated throughout this tour, and for them to be stopped in their tracks in Game 1 against Nigma Galaxy.
Yeah, Game 1 was great. And overall, from Nigma, I think that they're getting better and better. They're finding themselves. I believe we talked to Insania a little bit about them too, and he was like, yeah, they're definitely a team to watch out for in any sort of a tiebreaker or relegation match. Like, this is a team that can take it and can win it because they've been steadily improving, finding themselves, finding their groove, finding the fact that Amar isn't actually a carry and that they need to put him on a different lane.
He's now the mid laner.
The mid laner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had that nice little graphic tee coming into this series about Nigma Galaxy.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I saw that one.
Their mid lane is where they've been placing everyone. But this series, it was Amar mid all 3 games.
Yeah, they stuck to the graphic, if anything. Yeah, we cracked the code, and yeah, it was ever since Liquid, they didn't know what it was doing. But if anything, for Nigma now, they are in this bottom 3 tiebreaker. We Manaspa Nigma, and then the loser of this series here will be entering that 3-way tiebreaker. And yeah, it's going to be a difficult road because all the teams that at least in Div 1 there hasn't been one team this tour that have gone, okay, they're going to lose every single game. It's like there's actually been contenders for kind of surviving in Division 1, which is often rare when you get the Div 2 teams come up. But yeah, for Nigma at least, it's cool they're improving with their strategy of the whole Amar situation, but I think the ceiling of it is always going to be like bottom 4 of Division 1. I don't think the ceiling of this strategy and this concept is
with Amar on mid, you mean?
Or yeah, some like Amar mid, Sumo going to carry. You know, I think this whole strategy it's got a cap to it, unless Amar really kind of heavily hits the mid lane, and Tor 3 is like, I am now the world's best mid laner. I've put as much energy as I put into off lane into mid. But
I mean, that can happen, right? Like, he's extremely young. Like, this kind of a player has a ton of talent. One of the reasons why they didn't just give up on him. Instead, they're switching lanes up because they do have Fate. I believe he's one of those Nisha and back in the day Miracle type of players. Like, not necessarily on the same level, obviously, at the moment, but he has a ton of potential.
Yeah, that was the first series. We saw Tofu's reaction a little bit ago. He was very excited. Gaming Gladiators took it 2-1. This second series now we're watching the highlights for is Liquid up against Ooredoo Thunders. And again, it was another 3-game series. The first game, 62 minutes. It was a showing from Ooredoo Thunders. They really stood their ground against Liquid, and they were 1 game away from booking them ticket to the major. This series was a lot for Ooredoo Thunders. Also for Liquid. Liquid, if they won it, they were going to secure first place. Ooredoo Thunders, if they won it, secured the last major slot. But unfortunately, even though it went 3 games, it didn't go in favor of Ooredoo Thunders. Liquid did end up closing it out.
Yeah, the first game was extremely well played by Ooredoo Thunder, but then the second draft and the third one perhaps were just a little bit better by Liquid. I'm not saying that the drafts on Ooredoo Thunder were necessarily poor, It's just that Liquid got everything that they needed in both of these games. Like in the second one, Zai just dominated with the Keeper of the Light, healed everything up, like you couldn't kill anyone. And in this last game, they saved up pocket strat, not necessarily a pocket strat, just something you don't see very often. It's the Slardar into the AM. Anti-Mage got picked up, they answered with Slardar, suddenly he has no game.
A little bit of an earlier AM pickup too, but we're also going to see our third and final series for the Friday night. It was Tundra up against Manaspa. That one, though, unfortunately didn't go to 3 games. It was what we feel like the classic here in Western Europe so far, just a 2-OT.
Yeah, I mean, Tundra, they have, ever since kind of the shaky mid-portion of the DPC tour, they've kind of refound themselves a little bit. You see it with their drafts. Of course, they returned to their Naga. They got the Beastmaster. We're going to see the highlights of Game 2 where they got their Night Stalker. They put it in the carry role again. I feel like Tundra, they're just back to being confident in themselves. Like, I don't think they've really changed heroes too much, other than maybe like Abaddon, Night Stalker, these type of things. But the overall like systems are still the same. They're just better at executing it, more confident in how they execute it, and I think they're just on the same page. And yeah, just what was it? They go into the major, chilling, book themselves to it by beating Manaspa, and yeah, Manaspa, because they lost, get to join the tiebreaker situation again. It's gonna be rough. I feel for any of these teams who have to play just for one slot. It's like you get to play a whole other group stage basically with 3 teams. 1 team survives, 2 get to Division 2. If you go Division 2 for Tour 3, no major potential. You're then going to have a weird seeding for TI qualifiers if you remain in Division 2. It's just, this is the scariest time to ever get relegated.
One of the best things about Tundra winning this series is that we got to talk to Owie afterwards. He gave a lot of really nice insight. Yeah, neither of you guys were here on the panel.
I was.
You were, Lizard?
I was.
It was you, Sind, and myself.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got to speak to Owie, and he gave a lot of insight. It feels a bit rare to get to talk to the coaches lately, and we got to hear about the Night Stalker, hear about how they sort of work as a team, boot camp buff, all that sort of stuff, and what they're planning upcoming towards the major too.
Yeah, we got to listen to Aoi troll Cinderin a little bit.
Oh, true. That was actually my favorite part.
It's just always nice, but also just listening to Aoi, right? Like he's one of these players, coaches at the moment that are extremely insightful, very eloquent when it comes to the game. Like he just makes, even he doesn't make the game sound simple, but he's the one that when you listen to maybe comes the closest. And if for me it's always like that. If you can explain what you understand in the simplest of terms, you really understand that. If you can't, if it's all beating around the bush, then it's a little bit, yeah, I'm skeptical about the actual understanding there. And Aoi definitely knows this game inside out.
Yeah, it was great to hear from him. Great knowledge coming out from that interview. Would suggest going back and watching if you ever get the chance, but not right now because we're going to discuss the leaderboard and also eventually today's schedule. But leaderboard, the only team, the only group of 5 that aren't going to be playing in tiebreakers is Liquid. They secure themselves first no matter what happens. They will not be giving up first place. So big congrats, back-to-back first places for Liquid this year in the DPC. Now it's going to be a tiebreaker between a Gaming Gladiators and Tundra for first and third. Then it's going to be a tiebreaker between Ooredoo Thunders and whoever wins our upcoming series for that last major slot. And then it will be a 3-way tiebreaker between Nigma Galaxy, Manaspa, and whoever loses this upcoming series for 1 spot left in Division 1. So a lot on the line. This series for Entity and OG is you either get to have a shot at going to the major, or you are fighting against 2 other teams for 1 slot left in Division 1. It is the 2 opposite ends of the spectrum right now.
Shot for the major or shot for Division 2? One or the other.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Liquid just giggling. It's like, all of you have to play tiebreakers, and they're just chilling up at the top, having to do nothing.
Feels so good, right? Like ending the. If they.
I'd never know.
If they did lose,
well,
it's fine. We're together in this. Yeah. If they did lose, they would end up in a tiebreaker slot as well. So they're the only like yesterday or day before yesterday.
Friday.
Friday. So they secure themselves. They're fine. They're happy. They're going to the major. No tiebreakers. No shenanigans. Everyone else though, like what was the last month for? Can't you guys like do it within the normal duration of the season?
Yeah, stop being so competitive. Come on, guys.
What's happening?
How about I got an idea? So let's add another 3 weeks to the
another 3 weeks and just
let's
play it
go
all
back
over
to
again.
6 weeks.
And then we add a whole other set of games. So you have a home and away game. Turn it into best of 2s. And then...
You know, I brought this up...
away wins and home wins.
Exactly, yeah. And then we have it all at LAN, and then you can have that. And then if that doesn't work out, then you turn it into a 12-week, and then 24, and you just keep building it. Because at this rate, the way that DPC's format is, like the league itself is always gonna be tiebreakers. It's like
I don't love hearing that at all, D. But what I do love hearing about, esportsbet.io. They are our sponsor here. And if you guys didn't know, they have a new watch to earn platform where you can get 3,000 free tokens, roughly $3 USD per hour, simply by watching your favorite DPC games over on esportsbet.io. You don't even need to place a bet to start getting those tokens. And OG Entity, it's a really big series right now. So much left undecided simply off of this one series. Is the fate for OG and Entity.
It's a really big series, right? At the same time, the teams aren't really entering the series, I believe, in the same fashion. Like we have OG with, well, they struggled at the beginning of the season, and once we got to talk to Taiga, we understood why they struggled, right? Like Taiga was actually sick, he was in the hospital, he came back from the hospital, he didn't want to play anything else, so he played some Ogre, right? Like it's the easiest hero to play out. They had some fever dreams when it came to their drafts, not everything was really mashing up together very well. But they are starting to rediscover themselves, and it's working. For Entity, I have a feeling that they're trying to rediscover themselves, but because it's not working, and it still isn't. Like they lost what, 4 best-of-2s in a row?
Yeah, it is.
Best of 3.
Best of 3.
We're not in that new format yet. That's
that's what T was.
I'm living in 2025 already.
There we go. There we go.
I have 2 questions for you guys. One is, where do you think most of our talent are sitting on this? Do you think that the talent split prediction is more OG favored? Is it more Entity favored? Or do you actually think we might be 50-50?
It depends when they voted. If they
No, that's what you have to take into
Alright,
account. You know half of the talent are lazy and all did it back to a
60-40 Entity.
same.
Okay, so you think Entity favored? You also think
If they
Entity
voted
favored?
early on, yeah, definitely.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's OG favored, but we're gonna have a look. We do have our little graphic ready, so let's see where all of our talent are. It's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
oh, it's just Entity favored.
2, 3, 4,
It's Entity
5,
favored,
6.
yeah.
By like 1.
Yeah, by 1. So
But
almost 50-50.
I changed it today, by the way. I went OG this morning.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, so it would have been Entity favored.
I was
otherwise.
flip-flopping. When I was thinking, I was like, do I want Entity, do I want OG? And there's something about Entity's 4 series loss streak that concerns me a little bit for the team. I don't know how strong of a bounce back you can really get. And on the flip side for OG, it's like there's the situation you mentioned with the Ogre, then there's like the fact that they just won a series. Maybe OG has a bit more momentum coming into it, but that's so 50-50 with these.
The second question I had was, what do you think is the easiest support? I was actually perusing Reddit and someone said, what's the easiest support to learn coming into Dota? And you talked about Ogre. You said it was easy. You were like, this is it, the mindless hero that you just get to play.
I mean, probably the best hero is something that's easy and in the meta at the same time. That's what you should be playing on a
That's too
support.
difficult.
Like you need to figure it out because you're gonna be winning games, right? If you're winning games with something that's easy and simple on position 5, you're gonna
Say Undying. I know you want to say it. Say Undying.
It's Undying. That's all. Roll into lane, decay some plebs,
Yep.
steal the strength.
That's true. Undying is actually pretty S tier right now and pretty simple
Even
to play.
carries play it in NA. Like Timado played a mean Undying yesterday. Position 5, but still.
I mean, wasn't there the clip on Reddit as well last night where the Undying put Tomb level 1, he put it on the cliff, and 5 heroes at the rune died to the zombies.
No way.
And I have no idea what MMI, it's probably like Herald or something, but the 5 heroes will walk around in circles like, what do we do with the tombstone? And they all died. And yeah, that alone.
The Walking Dead or Last of Us in the
Yeah,
river.
and there you go. So we've answered it for you, Twitch
Yep.
chat.
Undying right there. But the 2 teams, we saw them flash up on our screens there. OG Entity. Lizard, you've already highlighted some of the issues that you feel for OG. The thing is, they're both on the same scoreline right now, okay? Both of them have lost 4 series. Both of them have also won 2 series. So even though Entities is this streak of losing, at any point it could be broken. And it's the same for OG. At any point, they could revert back to the
losing
rough,
ways, yeah.
the rough drafts.
could,
I'm going to word it in a nice way. The rough drafts they had previously.
They could. By the way, when I said they played best of 2s, I'm taking back that I took it back. They did play best of 2s.
They were all 2-0s.
They were all 2-0s. So Entity just lost 4 series in a row 0-2. So that's really rough. Meanwhile, at the same time, OG, the way they won the last series versus Nigma was a treat to watch. I have a feeling they found themselves. Like they played this Marcy on position 5 that was outstanding, a Mirana carry. Probably you shouldn't play that in your pubs, but it worked out.
How important do you think the Marcy is going to be in the draft then? I know that 2 bans are still available here. Do you think Entity have to consider phasing out that Marcy? Or are you like, bro, she's just a support, don't worry about it?
I would lean that way, just because, of course, in first phase, you've got to think about Disruptor, there's Beastmasters, Broods, all these things. OG, of course, bound to Disruptor themselves, even though they're first pick. Entity, they're going to be thinking about Beastmaster, maybe the Brood themselves,
The Brood, the Nature's Prophet,
The
as
Death
well.
Prophet
the
too.
Death Prophet.
Yep.
There's just they ban
and
out
they just
the
ban
Brood.
it out. So now for OG at least, these heroes do come up. And the thing with Marcy, for example, is like, if OG after that previous series, like, wow, this POS 5 Marcy was insane for Chu, it really unlocked his gameplay, they'll just throw it into the draft as early as possible, right? We're not seeing it yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it at least once throughout the series.
Yeah, even for Entity, like they also tried experimenting with the hero, but unfortunately for them, they put it on position 1.
Okay, it
didn't
sometimes
look-
can work as
didn't
POS
look
1.
great. It didn't. It sometimes can work in
Yeah.
that matchup. Like it really did not look that promising, but maybe it can.
It's because a lot of people really favor Marcy against range heroes, and I do believe it was up against a range
I think
offlaner.
against a Drow, maybe even like the carry Drow or something.
Right.
So-
And so I see that reasoning why, and they wanted her to like really get the farm for the items, but bro, she just got absolutely decimated. POS 1 Marcy probably looked the worst it ever did in that series.
Yeah, got cliffed a
They're
couple of
taking
times.
their time. They are eating. Like, at this point of a draft, right, when you're contending for like major elimination, I feel like you should have your band's initial picks already kind of locked in, right? So, okay, now they inevitably get to it. So Death Prophet ET,
Is this Nature's
Fishman
Prophet from
ET,
OG?
locking it early. All right.
So one thing from Entity is like their ideas are sound, but they didn't really make them work so far. Like the ET and Bane on position 5 that they've been picking didn't really work out that great. But sure, why not? And with the DP.
Does
and the
Fishman
DP.
not play Undying?
He is a enthusiast of the hero, but they've pushed ET a
Interesting.
little bit higher up in value. For OG at least, it's like natural response here would be like Drow, Sniper, Shadow Fiend, anything like this. As I keep moving and making the cameraman really get his paycheck today.
Quickly
Sorry
coming
for
up.
that one.
Walk this way, T.
This way?
No, that you went away from me.
perfect.
Oh, I thought I was going to center.
No, I was going to make it more difficult for
Oh, sorry. I thought you were trying to like coordinate, but no.
you. No.
So for OG at least, like there's all these options, and like ET, even if you throw it into the 5 with the Astral Spirit, the Aura, like these, you know, agi fragile carries don't enjoy playing against it, especially if there's some like big burst behind that. So maybe that's why Entity value this ET.
I'm a big enthusiast. I think that ET is one of those position 5 that can really dominate the lane. He's not in a
Can't
bad
spell
spot.
enthusiast without ET.
There you go. Can you? You
No, you can't.
can't. Okay, you can.
What? How do you spell enthusiast without ET?
Enthusiast.
Enthusiast literally starts with an E lizard.
But not together, right? Yeah.
No, okay, they don't go back to back. You're
There
right.
you go. That's what I meant. Anyways, like it's a strong
You
laner.
say enthusiast.
Yeah.
You can't say the T at the end. Sorry, I'm getting
Oh.
so distracted. I am so distracted tonight.
No, it's fine. And so are the teams. They're like the fact that their reserve time is just getting all
Of
the
course,
way through.
this is right. Like if you pick a DP on
I
one
forgot
side,
Nature's, yeah.
you let the Nature's Prophet through.
forgot, yeah.
It's gonna picked up. It's gonna be picked up like 99%. You'll play it into the Death Prophet in the lane if the DP is on the offlane, and you'll feel happy about it. If they mess up with the DP lane, if they put the DP somewhere else and you recognize it during the drafting stage, then you can just put the Nature's Prophet somewhere else. It doesn't really matter. It can be offlane.
Another thing we haven't mentioned is the fact that they banned Tiny in the first phase. You know, of course, Entity. Stormstormer loves to play it. Katomi easily can play it, so they're just respecting that flexibility there. So forcing maybe the draft a little bit, why Entity took a bit of time. Not a lot of teams ban Tiny. It's like maybe like 25% ban against them. And yeah, now OG, you'd expect the Nature Prophet to be the carry in this
Yeah, they're
scenario.
banning
So a
out
lot of
Slark.
bans for this would be like Slark, Naga,
Ursa,
then-
maybe.
yeah, like
something that.
some value ban depending on what they want to pick down the line. They'll kind of pivot based on that.
Yeah, for Entity, they did play a lot of DP, by the way, on the mid lane. So it could be a Stormer DP. If they do manage to put the DP on the mid lane, I'd like to see that good old 3-man semi-core coming from Entity. Where's their Pudge? What's happening? Like I want to see their Pudge.
Got deleted, mate.
Like it did get nerfed. That's true. I'd still like to see it once again.
Sure.
Like they can make it work.
I mean, especially in these games where it's like Nature's Prophet carry. Like if you put DP mid in a good matchup and you can go Pudge carry, sure, I can see it. The glasses are off.
I
He
just
means
had-
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
He's going to tell you a story.
glasses
T.
are off because
Listen up.
exactly. I'm happy I'm back in Western Europe.
I'm listening.
I got tortured in NA for one night.
Oh, no.
I witnessed Pudge with the Bloodseeker Ags.
Oh,
this
yeah,
is the
yeah,
TSM
the
game you're
TSM
talking
game,
about?
ESM game, yeah. Like now that I mentioned Pudge, I hope I don't see that.
I do want to point out, my worry for Entity is they do have the smallest hero pool right now in Western Europe. They are closely followed by Tundra, and they have one game difference between them. So they're pretty on par, but I do think for Entity, Entity, the difference is Tundra were winning a lot more. They had this success with this quote-unquote smaller hero pool, but Entity have been struggling, and it feels that we're not really seeing Stormstormer branch out onto more mid heroes, and it's not really working for the team
The guy
right now.
played like 3,000 games of Invoker.
Just Invoker.
Can't really branch out, you know, when you've played so many games of one hero, you're obviously not going to be able to practice some other ones at the same time, but his Invoker is really mean. I wouldn't mind seeing that once again. Is Pango banned out? Pango is still in the pool. That's another option for both of these two teams. Like another hero that I'm surprised hasn't been banned or picked yet.
Yeah, for Entity, getting into the next phase will be the difficult one because they need to decide what's happening with Death Prophet. If they want to flex it to mid, they are going to then have to go for some Morana, some Clockwork style opening. So it's like, where's Death Prophet going? But if they've already settled on exactly where it's going to lane, then they can easily pick up another core here. Again, that is the joy of being second pick. You need to, even if you have flex, you can't flex it the entire way.
Yeah, OG is really going all in defending this Prophet.
Yeah,
All their bans pretty much after in the second stage are to defend the Prophet. So I guess Nature's will be the safe lane. You ban out the Slark, the TB, the Bat Rider.
Yep. They get to play Nature's Prophet on the offlane, so it is normally locked in into carry for them at least.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of other heroes that DM really excels at. It was sad we saw him get the Brood eventually, and he did so well in it, but he's also great at Beast and Lycan. And I know that they're not in the pool, but I would like to see him go back on those Zoo heroes a little bit more. Sometimes he gets the Doom as well, which he's really good on.
We saw the Beast and the
Also not
Doom, I
cool.
believe, played in their last series versus Nigma,
Yeah.
which they won. So the Beastmaster, it was a bit rough at the beginning, but they did make it work.
Quarterback.
Yeah.
So a very impressive showing there.
What are they going to go with? There's the clock, sure, as kind of mentioned before. So they are kind of keeping this Death Prophet available to be offlane and mid. Now OG, you just keep that in mind, and here you kind of want to just pick another lane that Death Prophet can't flex to. So if you're OG, you want to pick up a mid lane that goes, okay, DP, if you come to my lane, you're going to have a bad time in mid. If you want to go to the safe lane, there's a Nature's Prophet there.
Yeah,
Not a lot of heroes feel that kind of void
Right.
because DP is very strong in the mid lane, but like you could argue there's Shadow Fiend Zeus-esque type stuff.
I
But
feel when you mentioned SF, it's more likely for me to see it from Entity, maybe even. Like,
yeah, I'd be very surprised if OG actually were to do it themselves.
like Entity could put the
Marcy.
DP on the mid lane or off lane.
Unsurprising.
Yeah, they picked
Very.
the SF in the clock and Marcy for OG. This should be their position 5. Like,
Yeah.
not necessarily the real position 5 that you usually expect, because they play this Marcy to the fullest.
Isn't it
Always.
weird to say? I think Tiger roams a lot as a 4,
Yep.
but it feels that she plays with the farm of a 4. Does that make sense?
No, it does. Like,
Yeah.
Tiger's all about making moves on the map, and he wants to try and break the game as early as possible for OG to utilize. And Chu, he is just slower to make those moves. When we saw him play the 4 role, it just felt like OG didn't have any moves to make because it wasn't Tiger there. That's no flame to Chu, it's just Tiger is a
He just likes
specialist at it.
defending towers. He sits behind the tier 2, gets some last hits.
And it helps.
He's a last hit enjoyer on that position 5. Ends up having like some
Aren't we all a little bit?
Boots of Bearing, BKB, and they snatched that Invoker from them. They did make the Invoker work, by the way. BZM, I believe, played the Invoker, and he went for the Meteor Hammer.
It's a
and
good
it
game
worked
for
out
it.
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good game for it in here because... Oh, okay. So now they flex the DP to the offlane, put the puck mid. That's perfectly fine. But in regards to OG, they are giving themselves this way where if Entity are super aggressive, they can split the map, make it wider. Marcy eventually with BKB will always be a threat towards this core Death Prophet. And now for Invoker, I want to see that Meteor Hammer build because when Puck wants to make moves, I think
Just
it
take
was like
tower.
they're like 4 hammers or like 5 hammers and you take the tower. It's like within like a minute and a half of buying hammer, if you use it off cooldown every time, you take the tower. So yeah, Invoker can really just destroy Entity's ability to defend mid lane. Their heroes aren't very good at defending it other than kind of throwing bodies and just preventing Invoker from positioning to use the hammer.
Yeah, you can, once the clock hits 6 or the ET rotates in, you can always stop him with some stomp, but overall, it seems like a good Meteor Hammer game. I'm surprised they went instantly into the puck when their Invoker got countered by a Pango multiple times in a row, but I guess some extra control is never too bad, even though they're not lacking it. Like, you have ET, you have Clockwork. Entity's draft so far is pretty solid, very well rounded up. Like, they're not necessarily lacking anything huge, just they need to round it up with that last hard carry.
Are you guys a little bit surprised by the Dragon Knight ban? I know Dragon Knight is that instant catch. A lot of people
Great
pick
ban.
it into Puck, but if we're thinking that this Nature's Prophet is safe, is there space for a Dragon Knight even in this draft?
DK and Rubik is a pretty formidable offlane combo. You have double damage reduction, so you can just exist. And it's one of those bans where it just stops Puck from playing the game. Because it will always be, if I go in aggressive, bam, I'm going to get Dragon Tailed instantly. And then it's like, oh, do I have to buy Lincolns? There's too many things that annoy. And I think both teams have really exceptional bans in the final phase. I think for OG, some DK initiation or some Centaur disengage would have been very powerful. And then for OG's bans, anti-mage against OG's heroes, absolute free game. Entity will be laughing if they're able to pick this hero. And then TA, same kind of thing, just OG can't really take over the jungle and stop defensive farming.
They played the TA and the ET, right? Like TA, that's literally the drive that they had before, so OG probably banning it out because of that too, not necessarily because they think it's the best, just they saw it. And now with the Tide, there are some options, right? There are some options that are decent into the Tide. Either the melee cores, like the Ursa is left, the Monkey King is left, or something crazier like a Luna that's always been decent into the Tide. And then you press the tempo a little bit faster.
Yeah, they pretty much have free pickings on how they want to do it. If they want to shut down the Tide, like you mentioned, some Luna, they can still go for some... They don't really want to do like the Joust Snipers because of the Marcy value. Like if the game goes later, Marcy will be able to scale.
And the Prophet as well, just TPing behind you, like it can be rough. But they could go that way too. Like
I think Monkey, honestly, out of all the options, sounds the easiest, just because it gives you
what about some SF
scalability. Shadow Fiends
can be played.
Right. It can be played. Again, it kind of somewhat falls into the whole Marcy category, but it takes a little bit longer. I think Shadow Fiend can do a lot more on the map early on to prevent Marcy hitting the creeps to find that farm. Again, we are talking about a POS 5 Marcy, so it's going to be some 35-minute BKB most likely.
I feel like you have your carry, Watson. You just look at him, bro. What do you want to play?
Yeah, just tell us what you want to play.
Just tell what you feel comfortable with. Our draft is already good. It's not that they're lacking anything massive. They just have to pick a full comfort zone for him. And he does play heroes that are decent into OG's lineup, so it shouldn't be that difficult for them to decide. Let's see.
Yeah, they decide pretty
Just
sure.
Yeah. It was Monkey or Ursa if you really want lane to be going well for you. Plus, you're playing into the Prophet.
Bless me. I hope
Bless
that had a bit of a squeak to it, so I'm really happy I got the mute key in time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't hear it in my headset, but it could have been picked up by anyone else's mic.
There we go. Nice.
Anyway, Ursa, look, we've seen Ursa a bunch of times. We've seen it succeed. We've seen it fail. We've seen it fail a lot as well. Before this lineup, you already liked Entity's draft beforehand. Ursa adding to it. Do you side with Entity for Game 1 draft?
I think I do, just because of the fact that Stormstormer Puck is going to be quite unkillable in this game. I don't know if there's clean enough stuns to hurt him. And then on top of that, it's like the unkillability of Ursa plus a DP. DP might have a hard lane, but yeah, I think Entity, unless they really misplay their lineup, they should be able to hit those motions of Roshan and map progression quite nicely that they often use to win a game.
Yeah, I'm mostly worried about the DP for Entity. Like, I also think that their draft is solid.
From lane into team
Laning
fight?
into Nature's Prophet, yeah. That's never been an easy lane for the DP. If she can get shut down there, if Toby does not have a game, maybe you won't be able to take any objectives. But you do have enough playmaking capabilities from the clock, from the Puck, from the Ursa. So I'm not sure. I'm still going to go with OG. I just feel that they've been playing better recently.
I do also, very quickly before we jump into the game, want to know what you feel the impact of this POS 5 Marcy is going to be. Obviously, they've picked it up because they're comfortable. This is what they're screaming. They've had a lot of success on it before. But into an Ursa, another hero that likes to stand its ground and just hit one target, is this Marcy going to be just as impactful?
Yes.
Yes?
Maybe.
Maybe. That's not a good answer at all, but we're going to jump into game 1. We'll see how it plays out. It's OG up against Entity with B-Cup and Lacoste.
No. Oh, I thought we were going to go with, yes, maybe, and I'll go with the no about Marcy, but do your transition.
Thanks very much, Nat. I appreciate the transition over here. I've got my casting partner, Lucas. Yes? No? No?
I'm ready to go, though. Entity, last pick, Ursa, looks really good for Ursa. I don't think they have enough when it comes down to locking him. He also builds into upgraded Quelling Blade so he can get out of the Nature's Prophet Sprout. There is no control on their side for him. So once he gets the BKB, there's also no BKB piercing abilities. So looks really, really good for him. OG's lineup, I knew it sounded familiar from somewhere. They did play like the similar tri-core against Monaspa, Nature's Prophet, Marcy, and Invoker. They had Brood and Hoodwink, but you're gonna feel this power of Sidekick, Invoker with the Alacrity on Nature's Prophet, so there's gonna be lifesteal, extra damage, extra attack speed.
We talked about that combo when I believe it was us who was covering that game, and we talked about the combo of Sidekick and Alacrity, where it's like they take the Roche taking potential of it, the fighting taking potential of it, and fight talking. And here we go. Kataome's in some trouble. Sunstrike comes down right on top of the Clockwork, and it's BZM who draws first blood.
Big commitment, 175 mana. Usually we see it miss the mid-range, mid-creep. The range one doesn't happen, but good start for Invoker, and he's also buying something, bringing Gloves of Haste immediately. I'm really glad that Invokers are staying away from the Meteor Hammer build. I don't think it's that great anymore. Like when the patch dropped, people thought, oh, this is going to be the next best thing. But it seems like there are better items, and he's also going to be playing Exort this time around. In terms of setup, gosh, Marcy's Rebound. This time around, choose starting with Rebound level 1. There was that time, the game against Monaspa, when he started with Dispose and Sidekick, no points from Rebound. So this time around, he will have a stun set up for Spirit Siphon, Dispose as well. Taiga getting some harassment here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, we're seeing more of this Elder Titan, and it's kind of a question that I have for you is, we're late in the patch. What's really that draw here for Elder Titan? Because the more and more games we're seeing towards the end of the tour, we're seeing a lot more ET.
ET does pop up when the games really matter, I would say, when you like, oh, what do we want to pick? This is a 5 hero that does a lot of things. He's a strong laner, scales really well into mid, especially late game if you manage to get the items. It also provides vision. Like, we talk a lot about securing the Roche and also defending the Roche, one of the better heroes, stalling the game. Like one of the heroes that can like land a 2-3 man stop, send things up, stop Tidehunter's Ravage, rest of the team connecting.
And we saw
good body blocks here.
Yeah, Toby, one shot from death. Yuragi will get the kill, and it's already 2-0 here for OG. This is a good start to the lane, and certainly one with the Nature's Prophet that could pay off. BZM going into that Null Talisman. Putz picked up that bottle, and Toby right back to the lane. So we'll see how this goes. Is right now 9-5 for BZM over mid.
That first blood, extra 20 attack speed from Gloves of Haste that he immediately picked up. And also, not just going for straight Midas, also investing in some of the smaller items. You did mention this Null Talisman that he's bringing to the lane. Putting some good harassment on Stormstormer on the mid lane. Fishman needs to be careful. He gets close, tries to square up. Gush in the face, Fate Bolt, reducing his armor and damage. Now trying to stack here a little bit, not allowing them to pull.
So Fishman again sending that Astral Spirit out there, and we've seen the early damage, what it could do to some of these heroes. Not a lot on the Taiga just yet, as he's got Fate Bolt available. Sunstrike, Telekinesis holds him in there, and BZM's got another kill.
Taiga will also pick up Bounty Rune, so this rotation, double the value from it. And as you said, BZM getting those early kills.
Not something we've seen so much with Invokers, right? Like, we see a lot of Invoker in this region. Specifically, these two teams love to play Invoker, but Sunstrike kills early hasn't really been the name of the game.
Yeah, so, some of the times we also do see Quas of X Invoker, depending on the matchup. But Stormstormer, like, he's the one that's going to shift things around. I remember during this DPC, he played one game on Invoker, played Quas of X, realized it's not that good, switches back to Quas Exert, and then he does much better.
BZM and Stormstormer, both level 4 at the moment, as it's still going really well in terms of the CS. But if you look at the net worth, already a 600 gold lead. And taking a look at these odds from esportsbet.io, a slight favoring for OG. They've seemed to have the number of Entity for a little while now. TPing back into the lane and right into the cogs. So Yuragi siphoned and hit with that battery assault. Comes into the lane and loses half his life. Not fun. Rebounds. But is there anybody else you could really go for? Toby's got no Spirit Siphons. The damage is not something you want to deal with, and BZM is going to kill Watson.
That's another Sunstrike. So far, so good. All 3 Sunstrikes were on point, and he gets the last hit every single time, which is going to push him towards the early hand of Midas, already sitting at 800 gold. Yuragi, you talked about it. He does not have TP available, does not have TP scroll as well, so now they need to play with this. Chu does not have a does have a point in sidekick now, so there's going to be an extra sustain in the lane. Toby's the one who's really struggling, sitting at only 12 CS, can't really deal well with these Treants. And also, they started the lane real nicely here. Kataomi pinging it out.
Yeah, wants to go after Chu again, but there's the dispose. Sidekick onto Yuragi. Sprout. The right clicks enough. Looks like they should be, especially with the Treants helping do the job. So they get themselves another kill in the top lane.
Way too deep. You'll hit that level 3 on Clockwork. You think you're unkillable, but Chu did one hell of a job, and we're going to see the Sunstrike play again.
Yeah, so going after Watson. Taiga here again. Sunstrike, Telekinesis, holds him up into the air right to praise the sun. And BZM level 6 already.
I prefer Praise the Moon of Mene compared to the Sun. BZM puts down Observer Ward for himself. Level 6.5. Stormstormer only level 5. Let's see the first rotation. Kateomi will get that D-Ward immediately. But seems like he's not going to be able to contest.
Ooh, but
Fishman.
Also here, Sunstrike's not going to hit, but that means Fishman's going the other way, and he's actually staying close anyway.
Doesn't matter. It was a zoning Sunstrike.
Yeah.
Keep hitting him. If he goes there, you're going to get the kill anyway. So they try to go play around the 6-minute rune. Watson.
Ooh, Yuragi's here to go into Watson? Nature's Call. Change on the lane for a moment from Yuragi. He's not holding onto a TP either, so I guess the name of the game is just get this tier 1 tower.
Looking at the build from Yuragi, double Gloves of Haste. I don't think I've seen this build before.
Interesting that he came down here with the TP with no way back up top. But yeah, you'd have to assume that they're going to try and get a kill in the tower. Sprout doesn't lock him in, it just blocks him out. Now they're going to have Watson go in onto Yuragi. They're trying to chase. They've also got the Clockwork coming over. Yuragi, he may not have a TP, but he will now because he's dead. That's a problem as Kataomi gets the cogs around Taiga. And this is looking like it's just going to be a second OG. They gather themselves a lead and hand it right back with a move like this.
They give both kills to Watson. He need, like we talked about Ursa having a good time. It's a really good Ursa game overall in terms of net worth. He's second on the net worth. There's a big difference. And 4K gold lead on Invoker compared to Puck's 2.8. Hand of Midas already done 7 minutes into the game. BZM's on fire.
Yeah, he has got 4 kills already, and he has just been involved with those Sunstrikes. So he's going to be picking up boots after picking up that Midas. He's rolling through the net worth, and that's going to be an issue for Stormstormer as his opponent.
I think Stormstormer's probably scared knowing that he is Invoker Master himself, knows that if he gets that good of a start on Invoker, 6 minutes Hand of Midas, multiple kills, this is going to be very difficult to stop. Kateomi.
Yeah, rebound, dispose. BZM's here with Cold Snap, and they get another kill. BZM now on a mega kill streak. 5 of the 7 kills have been this Invoker thus far. So OG coming into a very important last match of the regular season, and I say that knowing tiebreakers are tomorrow. But they are making a statement right now at the beginning.
They are playing very aggressive, moving from side to side, having this global presence as well.
Telekinesis into the rebound.
Speaking of global presence, Wrath of Nature.
So Toby hurt and surviving with a Spirit Siphon. Sprout on a Fishman, so they don't get that kill onto the Death Prophet. They'll throw a Rocket Flare up here. They don't have a hook shot to follow it up. Crypt Swarm, Fade Bolt, both these heroes really low. Stormstormer joins in, and he's level 7. So he'll go to the Illusory Orb, drop the Dream Coil down onto 2 of these heroes, but they've got the spread around Kateomi. They go and pop and snap this Dream Coil. Taiga trying to run, but the Illusory Orb will finish him off. They go to the rebound, look for the Sunstrike, but he'll die before it lands as they end up trading.
Lance of Pursuit from Marcy slowed him down, and Sunstrike did not connect. I don't think he did the math on it. He's just like, oh, there's not going to be any kind of slow. I'll use the Sunstrike on that Prophet. In the end, it doesn't connect. Toby lives, but they still are getting the kills. Yuragi also going for Hand of Midas. Have in mind, this is 2k gold lead already for OG, and they are going to have 2 Hand of Midases up soon.
That being said, Ursa's kind of putting himself into decent shape to get a good Battle Fury timing. Toby now on the run, dispose towards Yuragi. They'll get a kill into the Death Prophet, and with Treants right on the tower and 3 heroes here, this is going to be a lot of damage, if not the tower, depending on the defense from Entity.
Haven't really seen much from Kataomi. He tries to get close with the battery assault, gets sprouted immediately, or he tries to get in, gets disposed. Chu having a really good game, and now they're pressuring the tower. Level 6 Marcy ready to go. DM also coming to the mid lane. Has that Ravage available. And will be another tower. By another tower, I mean the first one, but the top one is also sitting at 600 HP.
They're thinking about going in with a rebound. Storm's nearby. Rocket Flare will spot them out. It's drums being built here for BZM, as he's going to pick up an Arcane Rune. And hook shot missing.
Not sure if they would be able to connect. Fishman was there. Maybe Stormer, but a bit low on mana. Also, his damage output is still limited. Watson trying to keep up with the farm of Nature's Prophet, but against Invoker, a bit too difficult. He had way too good of a start.
Yeah, he is up by a lot. 2,000 gold ahead of Stormer.
That's he's just getting kills everywhere. And I also like that he's going for these smaller items, like in the lane, Null Talisman, Magic Wand. After finishing Hand of Midas, picks up drums.
Yeah. So drums finished, and Watson closing in soon onto the Battle Fury. Broom handle drops for the side of Entity. Another Sunstrike. So let's see. Watson's going to TP out with Yuragi showing up. 4 heroes here. This should be another tower.
Nothing they can do about it. Ravage still available. They are pinging out the top. Dead Prophet, level 7. Still no point in Exorcism. Keeping a point just in case. But also doesn't feel too comfortable just popping it. He only has Kataomi behind him. Let's see if maybe OG decides to defend this one. TP available on Marcy, Invoker, even Tidehunter. Like, everybody has TP available for OG because they've been moving by foot. They did not commit any TP rotations.
Do they commit 3 heroes, 2 showing? Could be tough. Rocket Flare spotting nothing in the trees. Nobody will be around. It's going to be a tower for free.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Not bad for Entity to get something out of it. And they're going to get both Bounty Runes as well as a Dream Coil. Drop down onto the Marcy, who try to survive with that ult. Hook shot used, but Kataomi goes down before Chu. Telekinesis, Sprout blocking Toby in, trying to Spirit Siphon to survive. TP attempt, but the Tornado stops it. BZM, with the rest of his team, should have the control to get the kill, and it's going to be Taiga who gets the final blow.
Even Ice Frog could not help Toby. Trying to TP out there. Triple Spirit Siphon. Commits everything he has just to get out, but not enough. Tornado was still available. And in terms of trade, they only kill Chu, who is position 5 in this game. Maxing out Sidekick, which I really like to see on position 5 Marcy. So you will have this big Nature's Prophet that we talked about.
Yeah, he is really getting up there, and still himself 1,000 gold behind BZM, going for an Orchid. How do you feel about this one?
Great item. I think this is a kind of forgotten item, I would even say, because mids don't want to buy it anymore. It was like very exclusive on Storm Spirit, Nature's Prophet as a carry even from the off lane. Ursa does not like to play into silence, neither does Puck, so they will need to itemize. Watson probably thinking about maybe a Blink Dagger, but after he sees that Orchid, BKB needs to be the item of choice.
Dire are
So,
scanning.
4K lead. This is Battle Fury finished. Decent timing for Watson. And BZM is going to be farming some stacks here, and so will Watson with this Battle Fury. He'll try to stack it one more time at the Ancients, and well, that's all going on. Let's see what BZM can accomplish, and if they're going to be able to stop these stacks from being made, or really this Ursa kind of getting off to the races. He's not too far behind.
Watson only died once in the laning stage. TP'd out of the lane when he thought the pressure's gonna come, like 2 seconds before, so having a pretty good read what's gonna happen in the game. He needs another like 2.5 minutes of free farm to be able to finish off that BKB. Taiga.
Spirit Siphon, Sunstrike on it again from BZM. Cogs around, but the Spirit Siphon is making Taiga a force to be reckoned with. They're going to bring Yuragi in. The Spirit Siphon's back and forth. Another got the cold snap. Toby getting low, and he's going to fall.
I love some good Spirit Siphon on Spirit Siphon action. And Taiga getting all the praise from his teammates. Did a lot. Managed to set up things for Sunstrike. So far is all over the place. Spirit Siphon, there's some really good spells you can steal from Dead Prophets. Either Siphon or Crypt Swarm, and then you one-shot the creep wave with it.
The Spirit Siphon feels so much stronger on Rubik. We have seen so many examples of it just being overpowered.
Yeah, definitely feels like it. And I like that BZM is not showing anything. His courier is at the secret shop waiting. Oh!
Shot. Maybe they can finally get the kill, but the telekinesis stopping that. Dream Coil snapped. Illusory Orb, the silence on a BZM, not going to be enough. Cogs around on some of these heroes. They've got the sleep. And they get the kill to Ketaomi as Yuragi not going to be able to sprout anybody up to lock down anymore. There's the full Orchid.
Yeah, they did not want to reveal it, so I assume they want to use the smoke, try to get like a big pickup. Probably Ursa, he just showed on the top lane. Right now they're underneath the ward, so Ursa will know something is up. Chu?
Wrath of Nature being thrown out, and Chu trying to run from Stormstormer, who doesn't have Dream Coil, so no real way to stop this Marcy from running. And we'll also have Taiga near him, and another addition in BZM making the TP towards bot. Taiga looking for something, as this ward will catch some vision. Shoot, Taiga. Exo, Waning Rift, silence on a 2, and that is a quick kill on a Chu. Taiga with the Illusory Orb trying to jaunt to it, but he's been silenced. That's going to be 2 kills for the side of Entity, and a hook shot thrown at DM, but that will whiff.
They're getting all the kills they can get. That Prophet even using Exo, not going to be able to get any tower damage done with it, but still, a kill is a kill, trying to delay the game as much as they can. They feel like this Ursa could take over. It's just that he needs items. He needs these BKB. Watson has been sitting in the triangle. Yuragi trying to go for a sneaky one, but not fast enough. Wanted to block the camps inside the enemy triangle, so stop Ursa from farming.
DM invading the jungle with the help of BZM and Chu. Yuragi looking for his BKB in the jungle on the other side of the map. So he's going to TP towards bottom to continue to keep this lane pushed out. So right now, Yuragi doing a good job of moving around the map. He's getting a lot of farms, so is BZM. Probably wait, like you said, they're waiting for the BKB on Ursa. Is that a moment to potentially go for Roche?
They could try to contest it, yes. I feel like OG's got to hit an earlier timing and try to go for it. Get a pick off, transition that into Roche. Fishman looks very dead here.
Ursa will go north and TP away. Stormstormer not there quick enough to have backup for the rest of his team.
Yuragi, very close to his BKB as well. Just 1,000 gold away. And this is why I said that they want to hit a slightly earlier timing. Even without a BKB on Nature's Prophet, they do have sustain. Rocket Flare did scout them out. No Exo for another 40 seconds, so that means Entity, they cannot contest this. Maybe Hookshot will try to get in, but you see the Treants are already out there.
Oh! No. Sleep a half second too late. Could have been something. So Aegis now into the hands of BZM, continuing to just have pretty much a perfect game.
Ooh, Stormstormer. BZM is approaching.
He's got that Orchid, and Cold Snap Meteor down onto the puck. Stormstormer hit with a deafening blast, and BZM with a solo kill. He's now godlike, 9-0-4.
What a performance from BZM. He's all over the place. And another one.
Strike. Ravage hits 2. Fishman's going to be in trouble right after this if they kill Toby quick enough. Spirit Siphons keep him alive long enough where Fishman's able to walk away.
Where was this OG during the... Yeah, pretty much. This whole tour, what happened?
hey, they win this game, they're going to be in contention, or win the series, they're going to be in contention for the major. So, you know,
EU's wild. You lose the series, you're
relegated.
You win, you go to the major, and now they're gonna finish off this tier 1 tower on the top lane. BZM will get the last set. Boots of travel now done, so that means even more global presence. Ursa with the BKB. Entity wants to take a fight, but both teams do have vision on the high ground.
Taiga running, hook shot landing. BZM is going to die for the first time. The Dream Coil is going to follow this up. It's just the Aegis for now. DM doesn't have a Ravage, but they've got the BKB as well as the XO right on top of where BZM's going to respawn. They've got the Silence, they'll get the kill. It's going to be a streak going over to Watson. And now they'll look over for Yuragi, who will BKB and TP away. But a Silence onto Chu, onto Taiga. They got to find a target. They'll look for the sleep. That'll send them back towards Toby. And Taiga will get run down, here by this Death Prophet.
What a great fight for Entity. They do have vision on the high ground. They de-warded ward from Taiga, and they immediately get in. And with this BKB on Ursa, Watson like even pre-popped the BKB to be able to lock onto Invoker and just straight up kill him.
Yeah, once that Ravage was used mid before this fight had taken place, gave them an opportunity to fight and play aggressive. Especially with the BKB.
We talked about how this is a great Ursa game, and now it's starting to show. Once he gets to his another 2 items, Blink, Basher, there are no 4 staffs available on side of OG at the moment. I see Berubik building one, and I also see BZM trying to get one for himself. Switches the item build immediately. Wants to be able to protect themselves against Ursa, against Clockwork Hookshot. Taiga is holding on to Philosopher's Stone, so he will most likely get 4 staff and then get a shard. So this is, like, we've seen the power of this shard, being able to save your allies.
So I'm seeing Marcy and Clockwork both building in the boots of Bearing, or at least they've got the recipe. They still have charges on the drums. What's making this item more appealing? Because this isn't an item we saw too much of either.
Yeah, you want to build it whenever you have Ursa in your team because he is a bear, but on the other team, you know...
Yeah, right.
No, I think the item is like, because it has no charges now, so you can pop it every 30 seconds.
All right, I was laughing because you just said because he's a bear, but then I realized it's the boots of Bearing, and I'm just so... Oh,
DM now in trouble.
Dream Coil, and that's going to be snapped. They've got these heroes on him with the Earth Splitter. They get the kill on a DM, and all of a sudden, Entity are chipping away at this OG lead pretty consistently.
Entity chose 2 really good fights. And also, Stormstormer, he now does have a defensive item. Instantly after being solo killed by BZM, gets Yule Scepter. Not an item you want to buy, but in this situation, it's either going to be a BKB, or you need to try to risk it. And here it comes, Yule Scepter.
Yule Sunstrike Meteor. Whoa!
Well, there it goes. It's a setup for Meteor.
For a 480 pure damage Sunstrike and Meteor.
Did not have Phase Shift available. So he's got to drop. 4 staff now finished on BZM. That's going to be his defensive duel against Ursa and Clockwork that we mentioned.
Mm-hmm. And Clockwork can be very annoying. You really need that 4 staff. So they'll have multiple 4 staffs once, like you said, Taiga picks up his. So let's see what they can accomplish. It's a 5k lead, but I'll be honest, Entity, minus the Stormstormer death, have felt like they had control the last few minutes.
Yeah, the fights went really well. How many drums do they have? Everybody wants to buy this item. 2 drums on Entity.
Yeah, Chu has one.
So 2 on OG as well.
BZM has one. It's just like marching band out here. So, see if anything can be accomplished with this 3-man smoke.
They don't need more, because other heroes do have global presence, so you can TP onto summons. Yuragi, also 4 staff for himself.
Yep.
They understand the importance of it. We've seen time and time again, previous DPC tour, this one as well, even after the nerfs, extra 50 mana. Still an item that wins you team fights.
A very strong item, and there's that Hurricane Pike being finished there for Yuragi. And just about having 450 gold away there for Taiga, getting his 4 staff. Everybody's getting real close, and BZM, of course, has his. So Cogs not looking like it's going to be much of an issue anymore. BZM, despite having the massive start, now behind the Ursa, but still very much ahead of Stormstormer.
Yeah, it's just like both offlaners are not getting too much. DM trying to go for Heaven's Halberd. This is a huge item against Ursa, gives you evasion, gives you that kiting tool against him, especially if you use it pre-BKB and then he pops it.
Yeah, we saw Heaven's Halberd and how strong disarming was earlier in the morning here. It was
2 Heaven's Halberds plus Lucky Shot on Draw Ranger with Divine Rapier. We're talking about the China games that we did cast in the morning. Yes. It says 6k gold lead for OG, but I still feel if EXO is available, that they can take the fight. Coil onto Split Earth, 3 points in natural order, and then Ursa jumps in.
Blink, Ravage, Sunstrike, and dead. Stormstormer needs a way to survive. Taiga. He's gonna get in the middle of those sleeps, so he survives, throws down his own spirit. He'll try to fight Katayumi, but they've also got Watson, and he'll clean up Taiga.
Watson did not die for 20 plus minutes. I think he died once in the laning stage, this early death, but so far after that, managed to find the farm. Eventually, like if they win one fight, if he takes the next Roche, he's gonna be taking over on the network lead.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Problem is they're down a lot at the moment. I know with Exorcism, with the Dream Coil they can fight, but we're seeing how fragile that lineup is too.
It is. If he lands a good Ravage into Meteor, like 1 Rubik's lift, couple of right clicks from Yuragi, heroes are gonna melt, so they need to be the one getting the jump. They need to delete the hero instantly. Roshan, 2 full minutes.
Yeah, long one. It gives time for the Ursa, I guess, to finish off an Abyssal Blade, which might help going forward for this Roche fight. But more importantly, I feel like it gives opportunity for Stormstormer to get his next item. It feels like his progression's kind of shut off, too.
Not sure if he's going to be able to find anything in the next couple of minutes, like in those 2 minutes, sitting at the 1,000 gold at the moment. They would definitely love to have BKB on Toby for the next fight, because their damage during BKB is very limited, so if they pop those 2 Exos, start running at people, will get kited, of course, with the 4 staffs that they have, because right now they do have 3 of those.
Yeah, the lockdown for Entity is outside of Dream Coil kind of lacking. And they'll have the Abyssal, that'll help a little bit to alleviate that problem.
Never mind, he switches things around, which I kind of like it. Going for Nullifier against those 4 staffs and also removing Sidekick plus Alacrity. That's going to be massive.
Yeah, we'll see how the Nullifier does, and if he commits to it. Obviously, when you're seeing players kind of switching through their cues, they're having a little bit of that conversation with themselves and their team, right? Figuring out what's going to be optimal.
They know that they're smoked. The Ravage is available, but Ogre Seal Totem, quick in and out.
Yeah, he's looking to get that shard, so he's going to be picking up the Tendrils of the Deep.
Ursa can kill Tidehunter during Coil if he commits with a BKB, but then again, if they double force him, if he has buyback available, which I believe he does, never mind, he just bought a shard, so not going to be available for the next fight. Bottom lane is pushing in. BZM did kill that tower because they have Nature's Prophet plus Invoker constantly pushing.
Yeah, so now that Roche is up, they're in on the pit. The Sunstrike, it'll grant them some vision. They need to make the move. Not now, but almost like 5 seconds before. Not now, right now.
Another overpower. This Roshan is going down. Seems like OG, they're not going to contest it. They're drawing on a minimap. Push bottom, push top. Ursa picks up Shard and Aegis for the next 5 minutes.
I'm a little surprised that they allowed that to happen. They've got Ravage. They set up near the mid lane for so long, looking like they were gonna contest.
Definitely looked like it, but did not want to commit. Instead, killed the tier 3 tower bottom, almost killed the range barracks.
Radiant's middle tower is
Let's see if Ursa decides to swap things around now that he doesn't have a slot, so maybe in the end decides to go for Abyssal Blade. Or if he wants Nullifier, then needs to swap his BKB most likely, because you want to keep the other items.
Right. What's next for BZM? So they group up together, sort of. Now you're fighting into an Aegis, and like you said, if they were to get this Aegis on the Ursa, he should break top of the net worth. And he's getting real close.
Just needs a fight to happen.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
They spot vision of DM for a second.
What an
Seal
item.
Totem, and that's going to be just as good of as a Force Staff. There's the Heaven Talbot with the BKB. They go to the Ravage, and it lands on the 2. They'll steal the Crypt Swarm. Watson kind of caught out. Nobody's here as he's been kited for the most part. Tornado lands on the 2. Sunstrike, Tendrils of the Deep. They take out the Aegis. They also got the kill into the Clockwork, so they're going to look to get themselves another as the Dream Coil comes down, as Toby's going to be around the back with the Exo and the Spirit Siphons.
Ursa
Watson trying
can't
to
hit them.
but he's being hit with the Heaven's Halberd. Ursa can't hit. Watson going to go down to Taiga. Toby looking like he's going to be next, and OG having a much better fight than before, and they just obliterate Entity.
This is what we talked about, the kiting potential with these Force Staffs. Ursa tries to get in. Hookshot connects, but Ogre's Seal Totem, then the Heaven's Halberd comes in. Ursa in no man's land that like switches target. I think he tried to go for 4 different heroes in that fight. And looking at how much damage he dealt, 1,000 damage. That's about it.
Look at the damage that Yuragi put out at
Radiant's middle
5,500.
tower is under attack.
Oh my, and we saw how quickly they could push these towers. They're going to look to get a bottom set of racks. They've already done some damage to half.
And now the power of Nature's Prophet. Alacrity, Sidekick, Bongo Drums.
He's looking like pre-patch Lina out there. Telekinesis, Meteor, Tendrils of the Deep. Hookshot comes in. They've got the silence on to 3, 4 heroes. Toby now on the run with the Spirit Siphon. Choose trying to get the Dispose. He'll send him back, and now with the Unleash, is the damage enough? Crypt Swarm, BKB. Toby, though, is he going to be safe even with the BKB? Yuragi backs off of it. Nature's Call. Watson goes in. The right clicks onto this Nature's Prophet, but the Force Staffs, are they going to be too much? There's 1. There's 2. And now it's looking like they've gotten far enough away from the Ursa. They'll get the kill to the Clockwork with the Gush from DM. And it's just showing the power of Force Staff.
This item is too damn good. They get the barracks, they kill 1 hero, there's going to be double damage available. They can go in again. They don't have like any big commitments. Ravage is going to be back online in 20 seconds. So they can keep pushing. They can try to lower the BKB cooldown. Watson one's still on cooldown for 55 seconds, so if OG's keeping the track on it, they still have another fight. BZM, Boots of Travel is available. Gonna rejoin the fight. DP on Treants.
Middle tower is under attack.
Looking really good for OG to set up to win this first game. Up by so much. This is just big problems for Entity. They're going to start to lose the map very quickly, which means that this net worth lead is just going to
Tower is under
casually
attack.
go up for OG when you're not allowed to farm anything.
If Entity misuses Exorcism, BKB on Ursa, they lose a fight, they lose a game. Right now, in terms of buybacks, Ursa has one, and that's about it on their side. Clockwork, which is not the most impressive one. 3 minutes and 40 seconds until potential row spawn. Not sure if they want to wait for it. If they get a pick-off, OG's just going to run at them again.
Yeah, they might wait with the stakes on the line, considering it puts you in potential major tiebreaker rather than relegation.
Yeah, they also have a lot of gold saved up. BZM wants to get that Hex, and here it comes. Gonna pick it up. Yuragi also sitting at 5,000 gold, Hand of Midas.
There's the smoke. So let's see if they make the move. They've got the Ravage back available.
Also big item, another Heaven's Halberd on Chu.
He can't hit.
Needs like 100, 200 gold to finish it off. And also, looking at the neutral items, Blast Rig on Marcy, so great against Ursa, great against that Prophet. Then you have Nature's Prophet with Elven Tunic, so Another great item against Ursa. OG, blessed by Dota gods as well.
Yeah, they're constantly being blessed in this first game. And there's the nullifier. We'll see how it works out for Watson. Now he wants MKB, but I don't know if he's going to even have the time to farm that item up. Well, they're the ones coming forward with a 5-man smoke.
Nullifier on Tide. DM got that nullifier before Ursa, I believe. So they can lock onto Puck and actually kill him. Silence. No Yule Scepter gonna come through. If you use it on Ursa, you're also taking away a lot of his damage, removing overpower from him. Ursa with no overpower is just a teddy bear.
No overpower, getting disarmed. He's declawed. Can't really get anything done. Exo. Ravage! Huge from DM onto 4 Tendrils of the Deep on a 2. Kantomi's in trouble to go after Chu, but they've got the telekinesis. DM's gonna get low, but the Ogre Seal told him to get some distance. Dream Coil onto both Yuragi and Chu, but no follow-up damage. Big ults used, but nobody dies.
That Exo really premature. I think he needs to save it until like Ursa gets in. It's not an easy one. Like the game for it, it's like you're playing into 3-4 staff, so if you commit, they're gonna try to kite. If Ursa's not there to use the nullifier, and he didn't commit with anything too big other than Exo. Ursa still has his BKB available. BKB on Invoker. Same goes for Nature's Prophet. Even without Ravage, I feel OG could try to get a pick off.
Yeah, I was a little surprised, I would say, that they didn't go on a 4-man Ravage like that, as aggressive as maybe they could have. But fighting an Exo is also ill-advised at times, especially if you want to not throw anything away, right?
Yeah.
So they're still pressuring. They're still here, pretty far forward past where the Tier 2s once stood. So OG's going to put the pressure on Entity to defend their base, and maybe if they catch somebody a little bit too far out, they'll make a move. They do have this Hex, so they can start with that. That's exactly what they'll do. Hook shot over on a BZM. They've got the Dream Coil. They've got the damage with the Battle Fury, who is also doing some damage over on a Chu. So BZM, Chu, both going down. They've got the Sleep, the Nullifier onto the Ursa, trying to run. Taiga's the only one able to go after him, but he's going to lose the orbit. John over to the side. Get the Omi right on top of DM. Cogs push him back towards the hands of Watson, and they're going to get themselves a 3rd kill. So, sort of a defense here for Entity lining up.
Now we see the power of this nullifier. He locks onto a target, manages to instantly kill it, and as you said, like the Battle Fury damage also coming through, finds a really nice neutral item for himself, Penta Edge Sword. Now on Ursa, also got that level 20, so extra damage from the Fury swipes. In theory, it should not be that great of a Tidehunter game because you're playing into Ursa, you're playing into Death Prophet. Historically, Death Prophet always had your number. Spirit Siphon can't crack that off. Exorcism on top of you. Keep following. That's why Toby wants to get the Blink Dagger, but the thing is, he's really underfarmed at the moment. Sitting at only 11,000 net worth, almost as farmed as Rubik.
Ooh. Yeah. Not the best game right now for the Death Prophet in terms of net worth. You can see Yuragi almost getting level 25. He's about to hit 24, so from that, it can be pretty much Nature's Prophet anywhere, and if push comes to shove, might just end up throwing out a little bit of that rat game.
Love me some good rat Dota.
Rat jam. Or ratting is my jam. So 16,000 net worth lead. Ursa catching right back up. He had been behind for a quick second. BZM's net worth hasn't exactly risen in a little while, so now Ursa, I was saying MKB may not even come out, but they make that defense, and he's almost got the gold for it.
I'm not sure how he fits in MKB into his inventory. Maybe if he finds like another item, a move speed item.
Got to start giving blessings to every item.
Timeless Relic. Let's see what Puck is holding. Robo gonna immediately take that one.
So what did he end up buying? Nothing yet. Lincoln Sphere for Puck next, as this is Roche with Refresher Shard on it. So let's see. OG last time, they didn't even contest. But this time around, with such a lead, they should be the ones who are going for Roche, right?
Let's see. They still have to respect Entity and how they're going to fight. You are fighting into Elder Titan inside the Roche Pit, Clockwork with the Rocket Flare, Fishman.
Blink, Telekinesis, Fade Bolt. Tomi will survive. He's got those Boots of Bearing. So able to run away pretty quickly, and the rest of Entity nearby, but not exactly responding immediately. They're not looking to counterplay just yet. Need the proper vision to do so, and it's kind of tough at the moment for him. So Tide also holding on to that Ninja Gear, as well as the Ogre Seal Totem. Using that to move around and maybe get the positioning right for another big Ravage.
Watson is committing, using the Courier, going for MKB, sold his boots, but he's very slow. This is 310 move speed Ursa. He gets hit by one Gush, Scotty. He's not going to be able to move in the fights.
We talked about how the kiting with the Force Staffs has been a big issue for him. Well, when you can't move at all, it's going to be even worse, right?
Yeah, that's why I said maybe some kind of a Flicker or maybe Ninja Gear would have been a better item, but they already found all tier 4 items, so he's going to need to bear with it. I guess that he can't really do anything about it. Gonna get kited, but after seeing Butterfly on Nature's Prophet and also holding on to Elven Tunic, that's 40% plus evasion, so can't really blame him for going for that MKB.
Taking a look at the levels, you do see that Yuragi is now level 25. And he, of course, took the removed teleportation cooldown and commenced the game of the rat. These old Alliance fans rubbing their hands.
Yeah.
Like they just are rats finding something. Let's travel level 2 on Stormer. He was going for Lincoln's, instead upgraded the boots. So see how much that's going to help him. We have seen Stormer get blown up throughout this game. But maybe the Lincolns would be a good idea, or maybe even an Aeon Disc to survive a little bit longer in these exchanges.
Yeah, some kind of a defensive tool.
Problem is, there's already that Nullifier, right, on DM.
Double damage.
So let's see. Smokes from both teams.
Oh, now they have high ground.
Ravage, ooh, Stormcrafter I think stopped his blink, so the Ravage isn't exactly perfect, but they are still going to get the kill there onto Toby. So they take the Death Prophet out, the right click's coming in from Yuragi, they get the kill on a Fishman, now it's Watson who's barely moving, and well, he's going to die very quickly, so does Kataomi, and they don't have buyback on Watson either.
Oh, they just like went to full wraparound, but OG had the high ground, and now they will have Refresher available. Probably going to give that to DM. 6,000 damage dealt by Nature's Prophet in that fight with DD available, completely uncontested. He can also TP inside their base. Holding on to Aegis.
Creeps pushing in bottom.
This just might be it. Maybe they can hold, but I doubt it. 50 seconds, it's more than enough for them to take the Mega Creeps, but Yuragi's like, okay, we have enough damage and we're gonna go for the throne. Let's see if Ursa has buyback. Glyph, that's their last hope.
Still 40 seconds, and they'll turn their attention to the Tier 3 tower. Now back to the forest. Unleash Hookshot coming in. They've got 3 heroes, but there's the Hex as well as the Gush. They've got the Nullifier into the Sunstrike. Won't even matter, as now he's going to buy back. They'll go for the throne, and this is looking like OG should clearly have game number 1, as they have spotted Stormer over on the back end of this fight. Cogs around Yuragi, but it's not really going to matter. BKB's been popped, and they will finish off this first game in easy fashion.
Yeah, Entity did show some signs of life in some of the mid-game fights, but that was about it. Ursa getting kited. They itemized nicely against Ursa. Multiple Force Staffs, 3 in the end, plus 2 Heaven's Halberd. BZM, way too good of a start. Like, he was constantly on top of the net worth until, like, eventually Nature's Prophet took over, but having that early kill First Blood starts with the Sunstrike on all side lanes, getting the kills. 6-minute hand of Midas proceeds to dominate the game. I love the Orchid pickup against Ursa and Puck. Kind of shut down what Stormstormer wanted to do. And every single time I see Entity play, Stormstormer is the one who's getting shut down. They do struggle finding the farms, like finding the fights, finding some kind of opening, because 2 supports, Clockwork can do it, but it's not enough, especially with the 4 staff that we mentioned. Watson was always on recovery mode and felt like he was forced into some of these items that he did not want to buy immediately, needed a nullifier, needed MKB. It always felt like, oh, I need this item to be able to win the fight, but it's not there on time.
Yeah, it felt like most times Stormer, even with like 15, 16,000 net worth, he was getting blown up in a heartbeat. Yeah. Zeros just didn't have the survivability. They didn't have it in game number 1, and OG take the victory. So they have a 1-0 lead, and to break down this game, we've got the panel. Back to you guys.
Game number 1, a fantastic showing for OG here. And poor Watson on the Ursa getting kited. Eventually ended up selling his boots. Just not having the impact that we thought this last pick Ursa could have had for the Entity lineup, Blizzard.
Sometimes, you're an Ursa, you're poor, you sell your boots, you get kited around, nothing really works. But yeah, OG, they made sure that the Ursa did not have a good time and that no one on the side of Entity had a good time. I would focus on most importantly, how they enabled the Invoker early on. He didn't go for the Meteor Hammer, nothing like that, but every single Sunstrike felt like, not every single, a couple of missed here and there on the DP. Yeah,
no one has a 100%, yeah.
You're allowed to miss a couple, but they were playing the map really damn fast on the side of OG, and every single time they are making a play, there is a Sunstrike follow-up. It doesn't matter if it misses. He still gets a lot of farm from that, gets very early on. What did he get, like Midas into Orchid?
Yeah.
Like the Orchid was so good this game.
Yeah. And this fight here for me, I think, was OG really just understanding how strong they were, because they conceded the second Roshan, and then it's like, okay, guys, we got the Halberds, the 4-staffs, they kite out, then they get the Aegis, and I think that was the story for OG. They just understood that for Entity, this Death Prophet wasn't really doing anything. She was kind of a creep. The ET, the clock support duo, they weren't this kill threat on the map. So it was pretty much Puck and Ursa. If these 2 heroes can lock on a core and kill them, then maybe Entity have that fight advantage. But every time OG looked at a fight, it was always, maybe not this moment here where there's a lease of life for Entity, but it was always hold, retreat, use your 4-staff, use your Halberds, and then as soon as they saw the correct fight, DM would jump in, and that's when they would crush them. So I think it was just really nice fight selection from OG.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest standout for me, was like this map present choice for OG, right? Because there was a moment where the creeps were pushing into Entity's base down bottom, and they could have chose to push that to try and take a fight there, but instead they wanted to hang around that Roche pit. So I think there was a lot of great decisions made on the side of OG, and also by the end, Yuragi, man, he got some buffs. I mean, you're getting buffs from the Marcy, you're getting buffs from the Invoker. Like, he was just hitting towers and melting them like they didn't stand a chance.
But I'm going to have to say BZM's name quickly, just in case.
Right. I haven't asked about MVP.
But you might be like baiting production.
Oh, okay. I see.
You're hyping up, but I'm gonna quickly say BZM a couple more times, just production's hearing.
So T, who would you like to give MVP to?
Tiger. No, BZM. it's BZM. I think when you enter this series and BZM just walks to mid lane and he's hitting these Sunstrikes on the side lanes, he was like 9-0 at some point, just crushing the game. His itemization was also beautiful. I think it was like Drum, Orchid, obviously Midas and stuff. Like, he's been super active. Like, he's hiding the Orchid in his courier, bringing out at the exact time to go for the fight. Like, I think just BZM, he made the early game feel comfortable that this Ursa wasn't in stride with his net worth, like matching the Native Prophet. And also, Puck didn't just pop off. We mentioned the lack of lockdown. If you buy an Orchid and play correctly with the Orchid, Puck's going to have a bad time. So BZM, just beautiful stuff.
Yeah, just recognizing, like, when you look at the item builds, the things that they've bought, Orchid isn't really the strangest thing on the Invoker, but he went all in to that control. Orchid and Hex. Why? Because they needed it. Same goes for DM, getting that nullifier, right? Like, all of these items, teams at the moment in Division 1, they recognize, okay, if our draft is lacking something, it doesn't matter, because we can follow up with the itemization and we can fix what we're missing through that.
Yeah.
Really big showing for OG there. On the side of Entity, we do have to talk about this. Are you thinking maybe a little bit more lane prioritization? Like, where really was that? Could you have seen a way back in for Entity, and it was just the rough start and having to play from behind that was the pillar to their failure?
I think Toby looks a little bit lost right now.
Okay.
On offlane. Maybe not on offlane. That sounded a bit harsh, but this Death Prophet at least it was take one tower, and the rest of the game, of course, his team's kind of conceded a little bit of map, so it's like Puck can't do anything because he's an Orchid. Ursa's trying to farm Battle Fury. You're a Death Prophet with some ET clock support. Like you can't do anything. You're just a Death Prophet. So it's like if you're picking Death Prophet this early on, I think they need to make sure that they have at least one core to play with the Death Prophet. And it was a little bit difficult. So maybe pivot Tovi back to his like Lycan Visage style heroes. So if the game gets hard, easy game to play
I
around.
feel like it's much easier for him to execute, and it's easier to draft around that, right? Like especially because if you look at Entity, they do like this double melee support 4 and 5, and they do like to have semi-cores on the other lanes. So activate the offlane as well. Make him play those old school heroes that he thrived upon.
And so you're going to have to go back to the drawing board. We're one game away from OG potentially going to tiebreakers for the major. But first, we have to head to a break. Welcome back. We are heading into game number 2 of our only series tonight, OG versus Entity. And the stakes couldn't be higher. I mean, maybe they could be higher. But the winner here, which could potentially be OG after game 2, goes into tiebreakers for the major. The loser will go into a 3-way best-of-1 tiebreaker for 1 spot to stay in Division 1.
This is the series we'll be talking about for the whole of Tour 3.
That's a lot. That's a lot to live up to. And I would say
Those are the
Entity aren't already living up to that. Game 1 was really rough for them. I'm hoping there is going to be this bounce back for them in game 2. Draft picking order is going to be the same though. So there are going to be some change ups in the first phase ban. That's what I really question, because I look at what was banned from OG, and that was something different, right? Whereas Entity had very stable, very meta bans.
I'm not sure. I just like to see them skip on the Dead Prophet. If both the Prophets are left in the pool, I would like Entity to perhaps pick the other one, not necessarily the Dead Prophet, and play off of that. I think they will make their lives a little bit easier, but they're not necessarily the biggest Nature's Prophet fans when it comes to the amount of games that they've played it. So not sure what they can adjust to. Like so far, what worries me about Entity is that they have been really experimenting with their drafts. Like they've been picking some Banes on the position 5. They've been experimenting with the carry Marcy as well, and nothing seems to work for them. So they're in a really rough spot, and they need to catch a break. And in this series, I don't think OG is going to allow them to.
I do like that before we went to the break, you guys pointed out maybe putting Toby back on something that he's a bit more comfortable with. I'm trying to wrap my head around, right, because OG has first pick. Is there a way that you try and let both, Disruptor, Beast, and Brood in the pool? OG might pick up one of those 3, and then you get the choice. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out if there is a way.
Let the cook. Like, that's how they call him, right? Toby the cook. Maybe they can give something.
Because that is my biggest worry too, you guys. It was a very valid point. He did look a little bit lost on that Death Prophet, but we know he looks great on a Beastmaster. He looks fantastic. But the downside is we know DM on OG also does, so it's really tough to leave that one in the pool.
Yeah, the argument for Entity is when they're second pick, then banning out Beastmaster. Clearly, they don't want to go Beast Rubik, for example. Maybe they're scared of the Night Stalker kind of rising up and some 8-pick Night Stalker into bans. Maybe that's why they're now afraid of Beast. And of course, if you're first pick and you get to close the phase of Beastmaster, then suddenly, boom, 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 3 bans later, you're in a good spot. So maybe the Entity just in their heads over Tundra doing well against his hero, kind of the Western European meta rising up. But if Entity did want to do some new things, I think, they gotta. I mean, we're seeing some most pick heroes here. There is also the option where they get the Invoker in the first phase, put Stormstormer in one of his best heroes, put it in the opening pick, then you'd play out a draft from there. But I would be surprised if OG is giving away, the Disruptor or the Tiny once again.
They can give away the Invoker on the side of OG. Like they did it in the last game as well.
It's mainly just Disruptor Tiny. They're the 2 powerful ones that OG, I think, just respect ban them.
It's like Entity have been first phasing Invoker before, but it has been figured out. That's the problem. Like teams have been figuring out ways to deal with the Invoker. It's sometimes the puck mid that obviously didn't work out for Entity, but sometimes it's just Pango plus another hero that can silence.
Did Pango stay in the pool, by the way?
It did.
Yeah, it did.
Interesting.
It's
the whole game. It wasn't touched, picked obviously, or banned, like for game 1.
Yeah, I think for Entity, because they were trying to hold its Death Prophet to higher regard, then we didn't really get to see it picked up there. And they saw Invoker, so it was like, haha, a free puck game, let's go and take some fights. But
they were wrong.
Yeah, they were wrong, yeah. And also same thing with Ursa. It's like, if your lanes go poorly, Ursa needs things to happen on the map, so then Ursa buys Battle Fury +1, the map's already somewhat like in their favor, and then he's like the overwhelming force to say, now it's our game. And in this game, when it's even, by the time Ursa leaves the jungle and takes the fight, there's at least 1 4 stuff, a Boots of Bearing, some Halberd, or something to annoy him. And we saw how OG just pretty much put a masterclass on preventing Bear from being Bear.
Which team would you say struggles more to play from behind out of the laning phase? Would you say that OG this tour have really shown that they struggle, or that there has actually been some silver linings?
I feel like historically it's been Entity. Like this is a team that needs to win the lanes. Like always, that's how they draft.
They're like the 1 hour comeback team as well, right? Where it's like they go from lanes are difficult to games really weird, and then bam, we're in the 60-minute
mark. They win like a really good team fight.
Well. Yeah. But the beginning kind of always has to go well for them.
It's awkward.
From my perspective, at least. Sure. Like they've been doing, like, since they were formed, they were doing these pudges, these dooms, these lash racks on the safe lane, right? Like 3 semi-cores. Because of that, it's natural to expect them to do well early on. Then have that slump when the BKB timings sit in, which is what you're talking about. And then once those BKBs are kited out and a little bit lower, they start to make that comeback.
Would you also like to see them shift away maybe from the ET as a support? I know that they favor it, but when I look at the meta as a whole, what other teams are playing and what teams are winning with, ET doesn't really sit in that category too much for me. And it's not as easy as blaming just one hero, right? But supports are going to enable your carries to do certain things. You're going to be able to work the map in a different way. Do you think ET is allowing them to play in a space where Entity want to be?
There's merit for ET, especially against OG being a skirmishing in your face style of team. because like you have this like turnaround potential, defend your own jungle, you got some spirit into stomp.
Easy to react to it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Then again, I also think that opening second pick ET +1, it's not like, whoa, there's an ET, whoa, crazy, what are we going to do? It's like, okay, just an ET. Yep. It's the same thing as like just an Undying or just a Disruptor. Issue is,
Okay,
it's
I
not as
wouldn't
good as
say
those
just a
heroes.
disruptor.
Yeah, I was gonna say
When I-
Disruptor definitely doesn't belong in that category.
But like, okay,
Even
Disruptor's here, right?
Yeah.
Undying's like here, and then
We're gonna get the
ET's
box back out for you to do
ET's like,
Disruptor.
you know, just kind of chilling down
Yeah,
here, you know,
here
like it's just
somewhere, yeah.
kind of vibes. Yeah, under the table? Yeah,
under the
exactly.
table, definitely.
I wouldn't really want to see it in an opening phase. I like it second phase because it's like, again, it's a hero that doesn't really reveal much in your draft. It just kind of just
I'm a big
casually
fan.
sits there,
Yeah,
right?
I'm a big fan of ET. At the same time, it's not the best meta for him, and it hasn't been. Like we have all these melee brawlers that are in the meta for the majority of Tour 1, and he's not picked. Like he wasn't picked, so that means he's in a bad spot.
Do you mind doing me a favor, Lizard? Can you just start the game? Like, I know you're holding the game hostage right now. I know
He just
you wanna
wants to
keep
talk about
talking.
ET more.
haven't
Just
talked
this
about
guy, like
briefcase,
literally,
man,
he.
yeah.
You've got the button right there,
It's
Lizard.
right
I can
there.
see
Can you
it.
can you just start already?
Can
Come
you?
on, do it?
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
I'll hold you all hostage.
That's fine.
I just want to
Sure.
let the chat listen to us speak.
Sure.
know they
All right.
want it.
What do you want to talk about now, Lizard?
I just looked over and it's just Chew spamming the lobby chat right now
Yeah.
with like some random emote.
What's the update? What's that saying?
I don't know. I can't read it. I'm hoping production will tell me in the ear. But right now we do have a little bit of a lobby issue. That's why I'm talking about this ET. Why Undying? Okay, I want to bring it up again. You guys already talked about how favorable it is, how easy it is to execute. I think he just adds so much more for that laning phase that we said Entity was struggling in. They need to come out of lane stronger. Why not pick up Undying?
They should go back to your Undying. It worked before. It worked on the majors that you've played. It worked in the last season. Pick it up again. It has been nerfed a little bit, but the hero is still pretty damn solid.
Issue
Go
is
for it.
they've lost faith in it in this tour, right? Like when you look through all their games,
It's all Insania, man. Like I've heard. Is it Insania or who was it? What position 5 was
Celery.
it?
There you go,
Celery
Celery.
on the...
Talking about how he doesn't want to play Undying
Celery,
anymore
exactly.
because
And
he's
then picking
Undying,
it-
man.
there we go.
Yeah.
And then we interviewed Quinn. He's like, yeah, poor Celery, man. We did like 40 scrims or whatever, and he's like played all of the exaggeration. But yeah, and then he finally pulled out the Ench and he was happy. So maybe it's a similar thing. Maybe he.
Maybe
Fishman
that's something for
just-
Entity. Like they played Chen, I believe, but they haven't played Ench. Maybe that's an
That's true
approach.
too.
they're not
actually.
really an Ench team.
Yeah.
They were the Undying team last tour, but haven't touched it this tour. It's
When
like-
everyone else starts picking it up.
Exactly. I think Entity have lost their identity and are just kind of flip-flopping around the place. That was a mouthful.
That was. Let's flip over then and talk about OG and the impact of this Marcy. Now they've won 3 games in a row with it, official-wise. It's definitely garnering a lot of success for them. Is it just time that we know they're going to first phase it, and I know you guys are going to say again that Marcy isn't a first phase ban hero, but is there a way that you can change this up and you're letting through a hero that you want to pick up, and now OG have to decide between Marcy or another hero?
I'd still rather let the Marcy go through than the Disruptor.
I also
It's
wouldn't want to
easier
waste a
shot,
ban
yeah.
on it. Like, no offense, Chew, but like, Marcy's Marcy.
I also was wrong. It was second phase.
Yeah, I
I
was
thought
going
it
to say second
sorry.
phase. So it's a second phase ban, and it's like Chew's very good on the hero, but it also helps when OG is doing a lot of work in front, you know? Like this hero, you want to have like that slow, chill game, you know, teams getting kills for you, you're setting up things for your team, in lane just jumping around, enabling some Nature's Prophet, whatever, and then eventually, as the game progresses, you kind of stumble into, oh, I got to jump, oh, damn, there's a BKB on the menu, you know? Like this type of hero on 5, if the game is different, if this Ursa is destroying the map, if DP's taking all your towers, this POS 5 Marcy isn't going to be on an MVP screen. It's going to be like, why is there not a more sacrificial 5? Someone who can tank a bit better, you know, who can enable. Like, there's only so much.
But is that merit to Marcy then of how much she's enabling lanes?
It's the rest of the team, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay.
And the
You still
drafts
do
that OG
definitely
doing.
believe.
Like,
It's the way all of them are playing together.
exactly. So it fits really nicely into the philosophy of OG's game right now.
Right, it's more like it's slotting in rather than this is the centerpiece and the cause of benefiting off it. It's
Yep.
just like we have these cores and Marcy just further promotes
It
them.
feels like it's replaceable. Like they're
Replace it right now.
Okay. With
Undying.
what? Oh,
That's what I'm asking.
no. Again, it's like one of those heroes where it's like, even when you think about previous iterations of OG, they always have like this Windrunner factor with Seb, right? And it's like, are you really going to ban Windrunner against OG? And it's like, you don't. They pick Winner, you lose, then you think about it again, right? And it's like, this Marcy could become that hero for OG, where it's like they pair it with a Nature's Prophet, really good buffing up hero. They pair it with a Morphling, good buffing up hero. Some Mirana, not the best carry, but with the buffs, becomes a good hero, right? So now OG is basically telling everyone, it's like, if you play against us and you
have to ban
don't
the
respect,
Mars.
yeah, you have to either ban it in second phase or take over the map in a way that you punish the greediness of this 5. And so far, Nigma hasn't achieved it. Entity in Game 1 hasn't achieved it. I'd like to think in this extended break that Entity have, they are able to discuss the Marcy capabilities and also their weaknesses that they drafted themselves, because it is rare that you have this long of a break between 2 games. And if anything, Entity, they need it, because they look pretty lost still, unfortunately.
In that first draft, they also took a ton of their time in the first stage of the draft. Like they used all the reserve time, not all the reserve time.
A good like minute 10, minute
10,
20, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say they still had a fair chunk. I
was
think
a
they
lot.
had a minute 20 when it came to their last pick. I think they still had.
So quite of time that they've got
Yeah.
right now between the games, so they can think about it, think about that Marcy. But that's the problem as well, right? Like this Marcy is in your head, just like it's in ours. Instead of thinking
Nightmares.
about the grand scheme of things and focusing on your draft, which was lacking some things, you have to be thinking about, oh, what do we ban? Why is OG so good against us? Is the Marcy really the problem, or is it something else?
You say that their Game 1 draft was lacking some things. What were the main issues?
I feel like maybe
He's packing it up. He's like, just send it to a break.
I got
anyway.
5% left on this bad boy,
Oh,
and I still
no.
got a draft to do. So I'm going to put that on
Do
standby.
you have a charger here, by the way?
It's in the bag around the
Okay.
back, so I'm just going to put this on standby. We could be here forever at this point. Who wants
I-
infinite tiebreakers when you can just have an infinite series? But don't worry, I might have
sword stall
something-
here. Like,
Yeah, we just saw the lobby be made on the right hand side there, so hopefully it does connect. Hopefully it goes through. But in the
Please,
meantime, I
David.
want to hear those things that Liz you were talking about. They lacked draft wise, right? Let's ignore execution or anything. Just more what the draft really struggled with.
Like the way that I was looking at their draft during the drafting stage, I felt like they have it all, that it's complete. They have this late game Ursa. I'm about to press the button, guys.
He's got to make his final point.
Please
the
just
lobby
stop.
didn't
But
connect.
the button does not work. Never mind. Never mind. You
It
have
failed
to
again.
listen to us some more. Yeah, the lobby
Oh,
is
well.
failing, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the DP probably didn't slot in as well as I expected her to. Like maybe the itemization from Toby could have been a little bit different, because every teamfight that I was watching, he eats a Ravage and he just dies instantly after. Maybe that's something that they could have adjusted to. But like every time you're looking at a draft, you're looking at combinations of heroes that play together, right? And DP didn't have anyone to actually activate her, or that she activates in that game.
Yeah.
She's kind of on her own island. Here I am. I'm gonna pop Exorcism and push. That's pretty much it. Like maybe the Lycan, the Beastmaster, the Visage, any sort of a
Something,
different
yeah.
hero that actually pushes but also can join the teamfights easier. Maybe that would
So you got to
be,
put it back away.
Nah, okay, yeah, that's fair. Sorry. No, what I wish we had was the ability to have that on screen, because then we could treat it like we're like, oh, way! And then it's every time the lobby fails, we can all get really sad again, because you guys don't have to watch the lobby fail. On my
I mean, you're
right
practically
eye,
giving them a play-by-play right now.
I have had to witness this lobby die and crash and fail to load like 3 times. in
I
a
like
row
that
now.
I get to look this way then. It's like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah,
I don't
please.
see when they're trying to connect. I don't see when the lobby's failing. I get
got-
to just talk to you
your
guys.
heart is still
I get to talk to my
back.
I'm loading up
two
Twitch.
amazing
I'm loading up
panelists.
Twitch chat. That's all I'm doing right now.
connecting.
Yeah, T's going to have a conversation with the 6-minute delay.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, it works well.
Oh, it actually
Okay,
did connect.
see, Twitch chat, you summed it. Great job, guys. Clap,
No,
clap,
Lizard
clap, clap.
finally just pressed the button.
Oh, you pressed the button?
He had enough. He didn't have any. He was running out of talking points there, so thank you so much for that one.
Thanks,
Lizard.
Lizard.
But yes, draft will be coming up. So far, no real changes in the bans. Disruptor taken out, Brood taken out as well.
All right, will they ban Tiny?
Yes.
Bam, they will. Will Entity ban Beastmaster? Boom, they will. Will OG first pick Rubik?
There's still a profit. There's still let's see.
I thought it was going to be instant 2T.
That's what
I
I
was
was
ready for you
hoping.
to.
I mean, I was
Would've
that
been
one.
cool.
farming the
Would've been
clip,
cool.
if anything. Farming the clip.
Entity's turn.
Bam,
nice,
they
there it
will.
is.
There we go. So now Entity, they spent a hot
Ooh.
minute deciding their draft last time. This time, straight
I
in.
think their heroes
We're
are
on a clockwork.
fundamentally completely different on the 4
Yep.
and 5. So that's something at least. Like they're playing Clock and Mirana versus playing ET. And what was the other one?
They did DPET in their opening.
Oh, ET plus what was the other? support?
Clock.
Clock, yeah.
Clock?
It was
I
Clock.
think Mirana Clock is just way better. Like,
Yeah.
overall.
Why is that?
They've also played these supports in different roles. So they played at 4-5, so it's interchangeable. Even though there is no core flex with these two heroes, there's at least laning flexibility. I'm not often a fan of seeing double support in the opening, especially on second pick.
It can be a carry. OG played it. OG
I don't
played
think
a lot of carry.
Entity are gonna.
Probably not. Probably not. But
Pressing
one,
extra
one
down.
problem that T is talking about, one of the problems that is apparent when you pick a duo of supports is picking an offlaner becomes a bit simpler, easier. They go with Doom. Like now you can counter him with something like a Monkey or something with like an Ursa. But it doesn't feel as painful because you can always play around that with creep skips and whatnot.
I mean, there's 3 bans for OG. It's like Slug, Ursa, Anti-Mage are like the big laning dominant heroes. And then if you want to pivot more to a larger picture to the game, then maybe you do some Drow, but already they're banning out the Slug. I feel like if you're doing a Doom pick in this position, you just need to respect the aggressive nature. And if you were in China, China would already be thinking about Lunas and Wraith Kings and heroes that can like poke the Doom the entire time, cancel the media hammers, and maybe apply other threat. But in Western Europe, it's all about the fight inside the lane.
Oh,
so
the
the 3
Mars
heroes I
band, by
mentioned.
the way.
They
There we
actually
go.
respect it.
Shocker.
Our-
I thought if I just kept talking about it enough, we'd finally see it banned.
The delay was long enough that they could
They
have
thought about
listened
it.
to our podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, our podcast talking about the Marcy and how you should take it away from OG. I am very excited though. A DM Doom, I do really enjoy seeing DM play this hero. We've also seen 3-3 bring it back this tour, and he's looked fantastic on it. So definitely bringing the win rate a lot higher in 2-2 than it was in 2-1.
It just feels like the hero always gets what he needs, no matter how hard you crush him in the laning stage. Especially now with the new build, like you get the Meteor Hammer. If you're zoned out of that bottom lane, you rotate somewhere mid. You use the Meteor Hammer on the mid tower anyways. Then you all rotate down bottom again. Like he's in a really decent spot.
What is the worst hero you could buy Meteor Hammer on right now?
Worst.
Yep.
Everyone
name
can
one.
buy it. Doesn't matter. Anyone can buy it.
You reckon there's not a worst?
Sven carry. You already have built-in farming. Why are you going to stand still and hammer the dude as well?
Yeah, because you can stun into Meteor Hammer.
Yeah, and then what? Cleave him after?
You don't do anything after they're dead already.
I
That's how
will-
strong it is.
I will eat my shoe if I ever see a pro player do that in the carry.
I am so excited I brought this up. All right, Sven
in
carry.
this tour. There we go.
Oh, shame.
Yeah, because what happens
we
when
still have
7.32
tiebreak.
F comes out and suddenly Hammer's got like a half second?
Well, then you just say this patch, not this tour.
All right, sure, this patch. Safe for another week and a bit. All right, so OG, they ban out Enigma. Again, a little bit of a threat towards Toby there. Again, for Toby, I just want to see some Zoo-esque force map style hero. I don't really care which one it is. I just want to see him go, guys, I will dictate the tempo for the first 15, 20. Stormstormer can join me if he wants to. Worst case scenario, Watson's going to farm behind us. Like, I want that for Entity because that's where they've looked their best, even though they've had a very rough season.
So what's that? Visage, Lycan right now.
There's Visage. There's
Nature's Prophet in the offlane
Sure, there are
too.
some heroes that
Lean
might...
more Visage Lycan, like the first two you mentioned.
Yeah.
If you stray away from that, you have a Clockwork in your team. You could even go for something like a Darkseer if the game is decent. Like Doom, yeah, it can be an issue later on, but
Yeah.
if the lane allows it, that's an option.
Yeah, I mean,
And they ban out the
they ban
Darks.
out the Darks, yeah. I mean, again, it's a nice, like, very aggressive lineup, and for Entity, I could see them rounding out their draft with the Darkseer. They still haven't banned out Ursa or Anti-Mage that I mentioned before, so that's potential 18-pick heroes here for Entity that could come into play.
Ursa Monkey as well, right? Like these heroes
Yep.
to the Doom. Why not?
I think if you're Entity, you need to open this next phase with Stormstormer hero, kinda. So like maybe Invoker style hero, one that you don't really care about what matchup you play into, and then you allow both Toby and Watson to see as much as they can to get their hero picks in.
Yeah, I don't actually really want them to pick a hero that could be flexed between mid and off because I think that's when Toby struggles the most. Or like
Yep,
when
I agree.
Entity try and have too much flexibility in their picks to try and, bait out other
With-
heroes.
Unless they Death Prophet here, technically they could DP and then it's like they flex it. But
But
I
do you
don't
want
see it.
Toby on it
I
again?
don't want to see it. I don't want to
Yeah.
see it. But like it's an option.
With the
course.
Storm ban, there's an option that there is a possibility that Entity go for something like a Bat Rider even here. Like, they love it. And
Sure.
It's been out of the meta a little bit, but it's still been banned out a couple of times, especially versus Entity, versus Stormstormer. Plus, you banned out the counter in the lane.
Pango's still in the pool too?
Pango is still in the pool, exactly. That's true.
Good profit.
But now OG could bet. Like, if you see the Nature's Prophet already, like, that's an option for them too.
Yeah, and then Entity will then be forced into some like puck to finish the phase, so they have at least a laning matchup. Yeah, I can
Not
see
too
OG.
bad into the Doom, but still, there's Rubik to lift you up instantly.
Yeah. Potentially a little bit greedy when you have like this Doom going Hammer Midas and you have a Bat Rider going bots and BKB. The early map plays will be very reactionary where Bat needs to find the correct one. So it could be a bit difficult for OG to play with the combination, but if they get over that hurdle, then sure, it's a very potent draft.
Do you feel that you can play with a greedier offlane and mid if you have a carry that likes to be active and could run around with the supports? I feel like that's such an inverted way. Normally, it's either your mid or offlane that does that.
It's more about stable lanes as well, in my opinion. Like, if you have really good lanes, you can go greedy, because, like, Doom, his greediness expires once he has, like, hammer plus the tower's fallen. And then the same thing happens for, like, a mid-bat. Like, as soon as he has bots, his greediness has gone because his team can set him up the kill. So
What's the difference? Like, what's the difference between Doom Tour 1 and Doom Tour 2? Like, what's the
Takes the
fundamental-
tower.
Meteor Hammer.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, in Tour 1, like a couple of months back, you're a Doom, you buy a Midas, and you're in your lane for 15 to 20 minutes, literally. Like, 15 minutes in, you're not leaving the lane. You're just pressuring it, farming up. Right now, like, you actually don't get that Midas almost ever, and you just rotate from one tower to another, and you still have enough farms. So the hero is very active, not
okay.
as greedy.
Where are they going? Where are they going?
Why do you have that reaction to the Ember? Is it more just you're curious?
No, it's just very OG-esque hero, and it's very active in nature. Against the supports of Entity, it's near impossible to gank on mid lane. So often when you pick Ember blind like this, you're scared about these like counter pick matchups. First of all, Entity aren't really a team that pick the big counters to Ember Spirit, and on top of that, their supports aren't going to suddenly walk to mid and crush him as well. So yeah, it's a pretty nice Ember pick for that, and throughout the entire game, it's always going to be very annoying, and we get to see a Willow pick that we don't see too often. OG are the one of the few teams that dabble with it, but it's very much like Doom will get to, as soon as he hits BKB, Ember should have Maelstrom plus maybe like half the components to BKB, and OG will just want to fight and just like destroy the map. And Entity, they might have damage issues running into this with their current opening.
Okay, so some damage issues that they have to fill in here. They've already got their 2 supports. They have their most likely off lane. Could still be flexed to...
Yeah, could be flexed, but I wouldn't mind this Prophet to actually be on the offlane because of the builds. Like, I think Aghanim's Prophet in this game is really damn solid. Like, you can put the Prophet and the Mirana or Prophet and the Clock on the offlane.
He's still safe as picking up a Stormstormer hero here, though.
Okay, I like
Dragon
it.
Knight.
I don't mind it. Like, I hope this is a DK mid.
Yep.
Just so that you can, you know, put the CS advantage onto Ember. Ember rotates, you take tower. I'd like to see Stormstormer be a little bit greedy, go for the Midas and accelerate his time after Blink Dagger, to be clear, to get to 18 with the Ags. Because then it's like, if Doom has a Doom target, it's like, if I Doom DK and he's already in Dragon form, what am I really doing? You're doing some profit. He's going to stand and A-click you anyway. So I just hope for Entity, when they see a first phase Doom, they continue picking cores that make it annoying for DM, where it's like, it's not as simple as Doom this one guy, we crush the fight. Like, they need multiple layers of, we need to Doom him and have another refresher to Doom that guy, and so far Entity is roughly doing that, but early game damage isn't their friend.
OG, they just have to decide now if they're banning out the offlane or the safe lane, right? Hard carry or the offlaner, because Prophet can be one or the other. They ban out the DP because, like, we have seen DP on the offlane fail for Entity, but DP mid would be a solid pickup versus Ember. Like, this is something that I thought about them picking. Like, it's decent versus Ember, plus it's another one of those that doesn't care about the Doom. Plus you'd have Nature's Prophet, DK, DP.
Yeah.
Like, this tricore, you're just constantly aggressing the map, constantly just taking objectives. And like, back in the day, this would be called boring Dota, because like, you're going nowhere. You're snowballing, and if you don't finish the game in 30 minutes, like, you're gonna lose. I don't think that works that way anymore. Dragon Knight, like, he's a formidable core later on.
Scales nicely,
yeah. His scales much better now.
I'm pretty sure Invoker needs to be a ban as well. I know, again, you have the Doom, but like, it leans into the point I prior made, where it's like, if you Doom the Invoker, now it's like Prophet and DK can thrive and fight. The early game, the kind of the fight mitigation you can bring with the hero is pretty important. But again, it's like, there's so much flexibility with Entity, where like, if you lean into one style of ban, it's like, Entity are going to see everything. They're going to have pick of the litter. I think Visage was a pretty nice ban as well. Just play around it. You put DK mid. I still really like the idea of DK mid with some big Toby here on the offlane. It just depends on how OG wants to pick to enter the phase, or to close out the phase.
They have the last pick on Entity, right? Like, they can adjust in any way.
Yeah, they do. And I am a little bit curious what Entity going to pick up for Toby, or if they're going to surprise us and Toby ends up getting the Nature's Prophet. They are going to have that overall, though. OG, not too much time to pick their Uragi hero.
Monkey King comes to mind personally. It's a good matchup against the Nature's Prophet. And
Morphling.
they go Morphling. it's just really all about picking a carry that has this eventual timing of you trying to push us out the game, but you can't. So Monkey kind of does it. Morphling does it to like the highest levels, and it's just some like Manta Skadi timing. You're gonna feel pretty good.
10 seconds remaining.
All right, what do you guys reckon? Nature's Prophet safe, Toby off lane being picked up here?
5 seconds remaining.
That's where we're hedging our bets.
There's not a lot of Toby heroes that feel good into Morphling though.
I mean, also just not many Toby heroes right now. Is Visage gone, Death Prophet gone, Darkseer gone, Enigma gone.
Also, one
that's a
game
lot.
where an ET would feel solid on that 5, they have Clock instead of him. Like, ET would be really damn good here. But, okay, like, let's see what Entity round it up with. When it comes to position 1s that are good into the Morphling, some of them have been banned out already, like the Slark. You should go with CK.
Sure. So they're going to go for the, let's try and just break the map. You pick CK to pair it normally with the Mirana, and yep, we're going to see Fishman Mirana. It's going to be kill the Doom, don't allow him to get to Meteor Hammer that quickly, and then play on the fact that DK and Nature's Prophet will be able to just take over the early towers. I think OG, they have a draft that will be able to outscale Entity. Just depends on can they defend their towers correctly, because all about, I think, BZM popping off again. He needs to have a good game, like get to Maelstrom BKB as quick as possible. And yeah, I like the fact that Entity have leaned into this. Am I a fan of Toby Nature's Prophet? It's not a specialty of his. It is a game 2. If they lose it, it's now elimination tiebreakers. But if there's ever a time to show he can play it, it's going to have to be this game.
How do you see the team fights going out, Lizard? Do you think BZM's going to have a pop-off game? Because they have the Chaos Knight stun, the Dragon Knight stun, you have Clock Hook Shot, you have the Morana Arrow. Like, there's a lot of lockdown. I'm a little bit...
There's also itemization from Toby.
Exactly.
The lane itself for BZM shouldn't be that simple.
But the later, as we get into this, do you
Later.
actually favor the scaling and the potential itemization for Entity?
I do favor Morphling overall, like
Okay.
later on in the game. I think that Urag should have a decent time, and it's on DM and BZM to bring him to that stage of the game. But I have to say, I like Entity's draft.
Okay. All right. You guys are both favoring Entity. Well,
Who
actually,
I is.
yeah, right. All right. We're up in the air at the moment.
Yeah,
Either way, we
yeah.
know we can enjoy it. It is a game 2. Entity up against OG. If OG win this one, then we're going to tiebreakers for the major. So a lot rides on it. As we head on over, it's Beacop and Lacoste.
Thank you very much, Nat. Coming into this one, it's Entity holding on, hoping that they can continue this series because a lot rides for them in this game. And OG, we were kind of talking a little bit ourselves, and I think between the two of us, we're kind of thinking OG might have a little bit of the stronger lineup.
Yeah, I do like this Morphling. I don't think Morphling is contested in this game. They do have a lot of stuns, but in terms of damage, this is like Arrow, Starstorm. He can get away from the hook shot from the cogs as well. Dragon Knight's damage output is very limited at the early stages of the game. Same goes for CK, so I feel like this should be a pretty good Morph game.
Watson has to navigate the brambles, and they won't commit. They'll just send him back. Sorry, go on.
30 seconds to battle.
As, let's see. Does Watson go back on this? They control these bounty runes. Is it going to be more than just a 2 for 2 at the moment? I feel like Fishman. We've seen this Mirana before. You know, we've seen Miranas go 2-0-1, already taking that point in the Starstorm, committing to that immediately.
This is classic Fishman. Also, his build, Circlet 4 branches, coming out from him, wants to be able to harass a lot of stats early on. This is Taiga, Bramble.
Trying to navigate to stay with him. Eventually we'll hit one. And we'll taunt as they both kind of walk away from each other. So it ends up being 2 for 2 in the bounty runes, despite pushing them back on that bottom jungle one. Toby and Katomi are hitting away on Chu. Battery Assault, so doing some damage to the Rubik, who's only got Fade Bolt. And is this going to be first blood? No, Taiga's going to get Fishman right before.
Taiga, like 1 second before, gets the first blood. They kill Fishman. Bramblemate, I think this hero, like maybe I'm a bit biased, but I feel Dark Willow is such an underrated hero. It maybe comes down to like having 2 ultis that, like if you misuse your Terrorize, it's gonna look like kind of crap. But other toolkit is really nice. I also don't want to see Shadow Realm max. I think you go for like 4-1 4-1-4 build, maybe you put a second point in Shadow Realm just for a bit more value, and Taiga will kill the courier. So great start for him here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I was saying it in the last game with Elder Titan. I feel like there's always at the end of patches, there's like those hidden gems that come out for the most important games. Something that strats that maybe teams have been kind of thinking about, right? Holding on to.
I don't know if they like saved strats to be in this position. To be honest,
I'm
to
just
be
saying,
honest,
like,
but
you know, secret weapon.
it's always been Taiga special. Like when he played when they played with the all the Alliance squad, they were called back then. Old Liquid, and now Fishman gotta drop one more time. DM. I love the build. Infernal Blade on level 2, not going for Devour. Gives them that extra kill threat. And now Fishman, another free TP. That's good. 100 gold. We'll bring items. We'll serve as courier for Watson.
So we're going to take a look at the replay from the first blood. And Fishman standing right in the brambles as he walks into a second. And Taiga gets the first blood. So really nowhere he could have gone without walking into the brambles. If he stands still, he's dead. If he runs away, it's into the brambles anyway.
Professional tip. Try to collect as many brambles as possible, and you're gonna die. It's just like godly plays bramble though, coming up from Taiga.
Sorry, I got a little concerned. Whenever you say the word professional, it's usually followed up by e-gamers.
Yeah, this is what they do. Watson, 10 CS, decent amount of denies, but looking at the mid lane, good start for Stormstormer. Watson, can he navigate? Yes, he can.
So he gets out of the maze, and like you said, Stormstormer having a good job compared to what BZM was doing in the last game, where he just started in a dominating fashion. Gosh, I don't know if you can repeat that, but it is certainly something that he did real well in game number 1.
He's CSing so nicely, getting all the denies. Gets Dragon Tail, and gets 2 denies from it.
So BZM with a little bit of struggle. He's down 6 CS and 5 denies.
Because you're also not, like, this is why Dragon Knight is so strong, is you don't buy bottles, so instead you can invest in different items, whether that's gloves, whether that's Belt of Giant Strength, and then you get early Power Tread, so your last hitting is going to be even better. This is Power Treads 4 minutes into the game. Fishman and Watson, Shadow Realm is used.
Drops down the Bramble Maze, trying to navigate, and will be stunned for 2 seconds. Arrow to follow it up, but the Fairy Fire, the Infernal Blade, Taiga trying to run through the trees and get away from Watson. They get the kill on a Fishman, and now Taiga, he's got Brambles in Shadow Realm in a second, but it won't matter as he gets right-clicked down by Watson.
Those early stats that he bought did really help him out survive as long as possible. Yuragi, 14-1. Toby, Pano talked about this not being his best hero, but so far doing a good job. 17-7, putting a lot of pressure. Kataomi, level 3, so Chu is gonna die. Nicely done. They outpush the lane and immediately start to play aggressive.
Watson bottom, Shadow Realm charged up. There's a kill for Taiga once again, taking out Watson. That is a significant kill to get in this bottom lane. This is 7 kills in under 5 minutes. This is a bloodbath so far.
Love it. Our observer doing one hell of a job. We did not miss a single kill.
So we'll see if the bloodbath continues. Sometimes I feel like when games start like this, sometimes teams will start taking a little bit of a more conservative route. 32-11 to the 21-2 of this Ember. This is Stormstormer knowing what's on the line, showing up in game number 2. And you said it from game number 1, right? Stormstormer is the guy that they kind of rely on to get the ball going.
Trying to make a move on Stormstormer. Searing Chains in a second, but Dragon Knight a bit too tanky to try to get a kill this early on. Even like has 3 points in Dragon Blood just to have that extra sustain.
Yeah, never truly advised to go for a Dragon Knight, especially when they've got that many levels in.
It always feels like when you're trying to gank Dragon Knight on a mid lane, you need to bring an extra hero. DM.
Arrow hits, Starstorm connects, but Bramble Maze, Fishman trying to leap, goes through another Bramble. Uh-oh, he's got 25 health. And will branch Tango. Trying to run. Taiga has Shadow Realm in a second, but with the salve, all he's going to do is just try to stop the salve, and I think he was successful.
Is under attack.
BZM off to the side and just getting harassed now by this Clockwork. They're going to TP in this Rubik to mid because BZM is going to fill up the bottle, but he's still getting chased. Runs into a stack, and the Fade Bolt hits it, but the cogs are there. Kataomi just being a nuisance.
Watson, he's the one kind of struggling, and also with that move Fishman was kind of forced to make, he dragged the creep wave to the bottom tier 2 tower, which means that he's stealing some CS from Watson as well. Yeah, he's getting the CS for himself, but these were 4 creeps that he just took away from his carry. A lot of tower damage done by that Dragon Knight. Dragon form, first one, plus double damage.
Stormer. Thinking about protecting Kataomi. And going into the Midas Blink, so that's what he wants first. This Clockwork still not going away. They'll TP in this Dark Willow once again, leaving DM to his own devices over bottom.
Doom this time around, no Meteor Hammer, just straight up mana boots into Hand of Midas.
I know you've kind of had a love-hate relationship with Meteor Hammer throughout this
Depends which hero is building it.
match. Agi with the adaptive strike. They're bringing over Chu. And Fade Bolt, Telekinesis. Battery Assault's going to end in a moment. And they get the cogs down, so again, Kataomi will survive, and he continues to be annoying on this Clockwork.
Mid lane,
Dragon Tail Arrow. They've got the combo. Starstorm with a Remnant back towards the bottom rune. They'll bring Taiga in, but Watson's here behind him. Goes into the Shadow Realm. And now is just trying to leave, but he is surrounded and gets hit by a 2-second stun. Watson should have the damage. Can the neutrals steal it? No, they can't. So Watson getting a kill there on a Taiga. BZM with a Remnant to leave. He's been using these Remnants pretty defensively. Oh, the Wrath of Nature flies in from Toby.
This Observer Ward behind, he's pinging it out. Chu is like, there should be a ward there, and now Kataomi playing aggressive. Chu doesn't lift him out of the cogs.
I swear Entity have just been running at OG for the first 9 minutes of the game, and they have not stopped. Toby's going to come in and help Kataomi get the kill on a Chu, and it has been non-stop aggression. They already got the tier 1 over mid.
Yeah. Tier 1 tower mid gone. Taiga gets the D ward on that ward that did allow Nature's Prophet to get a kill. And this is also Doom Morphling lineup, so that means that it's very slow. These two heroes need a couple of items, so it's going to be a lot on BZM to carry this game. Oof, Recovery Midas queued up on BZM. This is going to be a long game, it seems like.
Yeah, if they want to turtle up and recover the way that they're planning to already, this is going to be an issue. So for Yuragi, treads Lincolns is the idea right now. Stormer, Fishman, BZM. Kataomi is also here. Cogs on the push. Stormer looking for the Dragon Tail, Elder Dragon form, and now looking at this Morphling under the tier 1 tower. They'll go into the trees. They've got 4 heroes towards top. Ags first for Toby. No surprise, we've seen this from Nature's Prophets in the offlane quite a bit.
It's pretty standard build. Like, you build into damage items later on, you get that Maelstrom into BKB, go back for Gleipnir to keep these heroes in place. He might even go for full Gleipnir if he has an opening for it.
Watson.
Watson.
Chains, Bramble Maze. Watson goes into the ult, but dies. Wrath of Nature flies in, and now the Bedlam right on top of Kataomi with the solo hero damage. It still won't be enough with the arrow coming through from Fishman and the damage from Stormer.
This is Hand of Midas completed on Stormer. 10, 11 minutes into the game, Power Treads, Hand of Midas wants to be able to scale, understands that in this type of a game, having 3 cores that scale well into the late game, probably at one point this is going to be like Blink BKB into Ags Manta style, and then these supports, they will suffer.
Midas now picked up for Doom, going BKB right after. Morph still looking at that. Lincoln's. Midas even queued up for Taiga.
Oh, Okay, I said this is going to be a long game. Could be a quick one if you start to lose those fights and you have Hand of Midas's available on 2-3 cores. Kataomi, another hook shot.
Now hook shot, but the cogs push away from the arrow. Goes into the Shadow Realm. Bedouin Soul target again. Cogs pushing away DM. They get the kill onto one. Looks like they might trade, and they will. That's a 4-time spree going to DM, so that's no joke in terms of gold for the Doom.
Does not have Doom skilled yet. Has a point. So could go for it. And now going straight into BKB. Stormstormer is already here. Wants to put some pressure onto the tower. Chu steals Nature's Call. So he can jungle. He can scout things. Block the enemy triangle. Try to put some more pressure on this bottom tier 1 tower as well. For now, let's see if he starts to block the camps.
So yeah, he sent all the treants to the camps immediately.
Kill it, Fishman. Use arrow. Oh, didn't manage to block this one.
Just killed it in time.
But managed to block 2 camps, so that's pretty cool.
Now that was the idea, stealing it, throwing those out immediately. Kataomi with the Tumbler's Toy. BZM will remnant away. As Battery Assault starts. So we do see that Doom is top of the net worth, and that is to be expected. However, the next 3 are all Entity members. Toby with the Terrorize and the damage, the Bedlam, the kill. Stormstormer's here with Kataomi though, and Taiga's gonna stand in front of this Clockwork who doesn't have hook shot. But, well, they'll still get the kill there onto Taiga, so it'll end up being a trade as Yuragi uses that waveform to get some distance between him and the rest of the entirety of Entity.
Fishman will snipe the Courier. Voidstone killed from Yuragi. Still tier 1 tower available on a mid lane. Whenever you have Ember Spirit, you need some kind of tower damage. So one of the reasons why the tower is not dying. Maybe with Chu using those treants could start to put a bit more pressure on it. BZM, Recovery Midas is online.
So he's got that Recovery Midas. Still looking at Taiga. You know, he's saving up gold and he's going for a Blink Dagger, right? Not a Midas.
No.
Right.
This is Hand of Midas. He's feeling himself.
3, 5, and 4. Such an odd stat line 13 minutes into the game. Dragon Tail shifting, and Yuragi. He should be A-okay. So he'll be fine. But look at where Entity are playing. 3 heroes in the enemy jungle, and they are forcing Yuragi to just kind of sit back. Wrath of Nature. Taiga's here, Bedlam, hook shot blocked. So he tried to go for the hook shot, telekinesis to throw him back. They'll fund Taiga behind the tier 2, and he'll now sit 3, 6, and 4.
A bit too deep underneath the tower, uses Bedlam, shares damage with Treant, so the damage on Toby is not gonna be there. NP very tanky, sitting underneath the tower, has like Occult Bracelet, has good stats gain per level, and now Aghanim Scepter is gonna be finished. Chu try to go for one more steal. This time around, it's just gonna be Sprout.
Not sure. It's, you know, not terrible.
Warriors of the wood.
Not the spell you want to have at this point of the game.
Yeah. I just wonder if it's a little bit of lockdown. Maybe he could do something. Bedlam is going to be used on top of Fishman, as well as the Shadow Realm Strike, but don't get that kill onto the Marauder. So, kind of lacking the finishing touches to these kills. But Entity still playing aggressive, and they are up 10-7. Net worth starting to lead towards OG, though. And that's with these Midases on both the Doom and the Ember.
Plus Devour Gold on Doom. On top of that, BZM still holding double damage for a couple more seconds. Might go for Fishman here.
Hook shot on the Chu. Telekinesis throws him out of the cogs. And while that's happening, Terrorize. They'll go for Stormstormer. Dragon Tail. They're bringing in Toby. Arrow's not going to land. Remnant forward, still trying to get the kill on a Stormstormer. Toby comes in. DM. He's just running right at Stormstormer. Eventually gets the kill with the BKB. He needs to run.
No TP on him.
And dooms Watson. So no TP. Still trying to get out of here. Trying to get that illusion ahead of him.
Tumblr still in 5 seconds. And Toby with the Sprout again.
DM will Midas and then die to Watson.
CK best hero in the game. Runs hero down while being doomed. Does not care at all. Watson in the middle of the pack. Same farm pretty much as Morphlink at the moment. Like Morphlink, when you go for Lincoln Sphere, it does tend to slow your farm because the components for farming are not the greatest. You build into Perseverance, which is
Radiant's middle tower
no
is
stats,
under
it's
attack.
just straight up region, so maybe a bit more waveform. If you go for like Dragonlance, Morbid Mask, then you can farm more. Now finally gets the Ulti Orb, just a recipe away from that Linken's. And this is going to be a big one, so you won't be initially stunned by Dragon Knight, and the other, so they can't layer the stuns on you.
Meanwhile, BZM, he's going for another farming tool in the Maelstrom.
Dire's bottom
So
tower is under
he'll just about have that. Not really the power spike that, you know, maybe some are expecting for OG. It's the Maelstrom Lincolns. That's not the biggest impact, right?
Yeah, the big one is Doom. This is really early BKB, 15 minutes, already used one charge with the first Doom. They didn't get the kill, but they got like killed before using it. Yuragi.
There's the root from the Axe with the Wrath of Nature. They'll land the arrow, Dragon Tail shifting, but well, he's going to stay in first gear as he dies.
I would trample your
So,
bones to
1K net worth lead for Entity as they've got 13 kills very early on, and they smoke. They kind of want more. Looking for anything they can get their hands on. I'm still excited. I'm watching Taiga's inventory. He's got 1,600 gold, almost 1,700 gold.
That's recipe coming for sure.
Let's see. Tumbler's Toy and Rocket Flare. Ooh, almost tried to thread the needle with the hook shot and won't land it. So misses the hook shot. They're under the Shroud of the Moonlight Shadow. Let's see, Maelstrom kind of going off. BZM finally picked that up. And more 200 gold away from that Lincoln's. We've just been reiterating that.
BZM recovered nicely considering the start that he had. He got dominated in the laning stage against the Dragon Knight. Didn't make like rotations early on. Didn't get any good runes that he can rotate with. So now, with that Maelstrom pickup, having the same amount of gold as Dragon Knight with the, what was that?
Dire's bottom tower
Like
is
10
under
minute
attack.
Hand of Midas plus Power Treads, so keeping things even.
Yeah, doing a good job. And has really, that Midas worked out, paid off. And the dividends come in when you've got that Maelstrom to clean up the creeps. So things sitting really close between these two teams. What's the game plan coming into the next few minutes for Entity? What are they looking for?
I think they could go for a pick-off, some kind of a smoke, maybe Moonlight Shadow. And they do have Sustain to kill the Roche. With CK, who's farming the Ancients right now, going into Blink Dagger next before BKB. Maybe he thinks that he wants to be that guy who jumps in, follows the Dragon Knight as well. But the big timing for Entity will be 2 BKBs on their side. Toby's BKB is going to come in slightly later because he's also going for another item, which is going to be Maelstrom.
Dire's
So another
bottom
farming
tower
tool
is
for
under
them.
attack.
Things are pretty even in terms of net worth, but OG investing a lot of gold into those Midases.
So while the net worth may be close, they're sort of like an item behind it in some ways, right?
Yeah. There's a Dragon Scale on the ground that Stormstormer did not pick up.
Hook shot hits Taiga. Goes into Shadow Realm, Bedlam, and puts the Bramble Maze down, but there's the Wrath of Nature with the arrow. Remnant forward, Sleight of Fist, Searing Chains. Kataomi will die here to DM. And the Blink Dagger will be purchased by Taiga as he gets that gold. My disappointment is immeasurable.
Now I'm just looking at the Dragon Scale. Stormstormer, is he gonna pick it up? It's behind OG Banner at the moment. I guess the creeps hit him and he lost the scale.
There he goes, picks it up. They find themselves Fishman, so another kill for OG. And showing off that Blink Dagger on Taiga. He still has Midas Q. I'm excited. Still excited. Still optimistic. Take a look at the odds brought to you by esportsbet.io. And OG are favored pre-match. From what I saw on the panel, it was Entity who was favored a little bit.
Extra gold kicking in Like, in terms of scaling, their lineup also scales really well. This is Doom, Morphling, Ember Spirit, but so does Entities. Like, the tricore of their lineup. Fishman, someone's at the door.
Someone's knocking on the door. Someone's ringing the bell. You know that song?
Now I do.
Let him in. Paul McCartney and Wings.
I know the Let Me In meme. I'm more of a meme guy rather
Eric
than the song.
Andre. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. So hopefully a quick pause. Maybe it's food delivery. Hopefully it didn't spill.
Hopefully not pizza. So double BKB is going to be available on Entity. In the end, Watson decided to swap things around, disassemble that Echo Saber, and just, I think the recipe is getting delivered. Yeah, so we'll have a BKB. It's a much safer choice. Like, the only ulti you care about is Doom, and even if the Doom is available and you already used your Phantasm, you're going to fight back. Because of the lifesteal, you still feel very good, because they can't just lock. Maybe if Morphling, like, locks you down, gets on top of you. But it seems like Watson doesn't care too much about it. Pops the ulti, and this is going to be another pickoff. DM gets it.
Continuing to get kills. That Wrath of Nature doesn't really do anything to keep alive the clockwork. And all of a sudden, OG are really chaining together kills. And their net worths on BZM and Yuragi are really lifting off. And same for the supports, too. A lot of gold for these heroes. Hobbs catching vision of Fishman, who's got that shard on the courier.
Fishman has shard?
I think that's what popped up.
I don't think he's going to go for shard on Morana. Maybe Kataomi has one queued up. It was DM's shard that got delivered.
Okay, it didn't... The graphic, I was looking at my screen, graphic screen.
Yeah, it happens.
My fault.
So Infernal Blade upgrade, longer duration stun, level death.
Ooh, tell me about level death.
If you can count to 3, multiply by 3. It's a very good ability.
So it's the anti-valve spell, counting to 3.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Okay. 1K net worth lead here for OG. Manta, Scotty on the queue for Yuragi. Nobody down here bottom for Entity, though. They're all kind of grouping together. And let's see, they've got a smoke available on this clockwork, and they will use just that once they clean up that ancient camp, and they'll TP over towards Taiga. Stormer with the blink, the dragon tail, and the kill there for Toby. And that's an easy pickoff. Thought about going to Roche. It looked like that was the direction they were heading in. But back and forth, and DM comes over the BKBB, Popeye Stormer, as well as DM. Both teams kind of pulling off for the moment. But they've got the hook shot from downtown for Staff Wave. Form right across. Kataomi's dead. So fast.
And now
BKB,
he finds him.
He gets the right one, puts it on to Watson. And it's probably time for Entity to retreat off this. Terrorize was thrown over, and they're going to find themselves this CK and get the kill on a Watson. They get Toby as well.
And this is Roche. They should, unless they want to go for more. No, they are pinging it right now. Yuragi with that Lincoln Sphere. That was such a great play from DM. First, he pops one BKB, gets BKB of his own. They retreat and then finds an opening on CK. Watson was quick enough to use BKB, but they still run him down. Yuragi turns into CK, has that extra protection, extra lifesteal. Let's see if maybe there's going to be some kind of a snipe. Kataomi does not have it for a couple more seconds. 2-1, hookshot available.
Oh, hits the morph. And it's still on the ground. Woo! BZM finally picks it up. They get the kill to Kataomi. They're taking out Fishman. That was dangerous.
Fishman,
it works out.
It was nuts. They left it on the ground. Morphling used the waveform and blocked the hook shot.
Yeah, that was...
Not sure if that was intentional, because they don't have any kind of vision in that area.
He saw the rocket flare. And
maybe he's like saw the rocket flare, like, yeah, this is the angle. Some 200 IQ play.
Doing the calculations. With that, they finally get the tier 1 tower over mid. You got to remember, Entity, they got all tier 1 towers like pre-10 minutes.
Yeah, but ever since they picked up those BKBs, they haven't managed to find a good fight. They... Again, Rubik, Shard, Force Staff, holding on to Dragon Tail. This is long duration stun. Like, even if you go on someone, one lift from Rubik, one Force Staff, the cast range from Arcane Supremacy really helps out a lot. And now, they are looking for something.
Oh, by the way, a little bit of lag and resumed and paused. Gloves of Haste on Taiga. Still a chance. Late game Midas. I'm excited. How do you feel?
I remember a couple of times when Taiga carried the game as the Arquillo. So he wants to get to his level 20 talent. If you want to go for right-click, Shadow Realm duration, level 25 attack speed, maybe get some neutral items as well to help you out. Get Moon Shard, Ags. This is how you carry the game from position 4. BZM recovered nicely. He's third on the net worth at the moment. Not as farmed as Doom because his net worth is inflated.
Pretty much tied with Toby too, so he's right there with him. And Yuragi. 4-man smoke. They're gonna go up. Maybe find this Entity squad. Get Taiga onto the high ground before that happens. Smoke gets broken. There's the blink as well as the Dragon Tail. DM comes in with the Doom. Hook shot onto the back lines. They get the kill to Taiga. Now they're focusing their attention on Stormstormer. They'll get his life out of his hands. BZM losing that Aegis. But turning into the CK, Yuragi throws out a stun. They've got the Reality Rift. They get Kateomi and they'll finish off Watson. Triple kill for Yuragi. Going after Toby with the BKB TP. He is going to escape. But Morphling just popping off.
This could have easily been 3-for-0 trade. Taiga, this time not quick enough to use Shadow Realm, gets stunned 2 times in a row, dies in the end. But yeah, losing the Aegis, not really something that OG cares too much about. It was expiring anyway in a couple of minutes, and now they win a big fight. I love the build from BZM. He's been on point this whole series. First the game on Invoker, then this recovery Midas that's going to keep him in the game. Going for Kaya Sanj, amplifying damage, fire remnants all around. And I think we got to give credit to DM because he's been really nailing it in these fights.
7-1 and 8. The Dooms have been on point. Not afraid to just throw it out. He's got a lot of farm, that Shard, that early level death, the Octarine Core, and also picking up the Psychic Headband so can get it done from a distance.
Ultra high level as well. Level 18 on Doom, getting closer to that level 20. Minus 35 seconds cooldown on Doom with the Octarine Core. Also potentially CDR neutral item. Quickening Charm about to drop.
We get later in the game, maybe a Spell Prism will drop for him. He's got one more chance at this Quickening Charm. So we'll see if that ends up going his way. Ogre Seal Totem for Entity. So they've got the Brigand's Blade on Watson. Other than that, nothing too crazy in terms of neutrals for this team. They're coming over, Telekinesis. Doom, dooming Stormstormer. Look at the damage on him immediately, and they get the kill. So they'll take out the Dragonite. Toby with the BKB, he's trying to fight. They'll find Taiga, they got the Sprout, they landed the arrow, BKB, TP out, no! They got the timing right!
They're just cleaning them up.
Trying to Sprout, trying to leave.
Watson was not even part of that fight. He was just chilling there pretty much. 2 right clicks and that's about it. Did not want to commit. No Phantasm available. BKB was at ready. 8-second cooldown, 8-second duration BKB, but OG in full control of this game because of that Octarine. He was able to get another Doom in a fight.
And after what was a good start for Entity, everybody on the side of OG now leads the net worth. Like this, the Midases have paid off.
Not yet. Taiga needs 100 gold for his 30-minute Midas.
The timing's impeccable. It's perfect here for Taiga. And then he'll carry the game, right? That's what you're telling me?
Yeah, I think if he went for like any defensive item, like Force Staff is okay always, no matter what. You can't force yourself out of Shadow Realm, so that's a big downside on Dark Willow.
It kind of feels like one of those games where you're playing Dark Willow and you could build anything you want.
Because the rest of the team is playing so well.
Yeah.
BKB being delivered on BZM.
It's like that game where Bobica went Weaver and he just bought anything you wanted. You remember that? And they still won that game.
Ooh, now Morphling level 20. Waveform attacks targets. Plus Eye of Scotty available. This is going to be healing reduction on Dragonite, on CK as well.
Level differences are just so vast. Oh my. The experience difference has got to be huge. It's 11 levels. 26%. I don't know what that turns out to be. There's the Midas. Ladies and gentlemen, he's got it. Midas is picked up. And Kataomi is picked off. Fishman, Ogre, Seal, Totem to run away.
Still has to use it. Leave me one creep. There we go. Finally uses it. 31 minutes into the game. Now the real scaling starts.
How many more charges till he pays it back?
Like 10.
Is that your brain doing math?
Yeah, that's how it sounds.
You know,
You can never heard it before because I never did math. I just randomly spit out some numbers. Spit some numbers and, oh, Tier 1 tower still alive here. Underneath the ward.
oh, pulling back in. Chu, they get the kill into the Rubik. Now, Sleight of Fist avoiding the arrow. They'll look for the kill on a Taiga, who's looking for the Terrorize, but they get the kill on a Watson. Now they look over at Stormstormer. Should be a kill for the side of OG to get another one. And
Timed it
now Toby,
nicely.
it's to be or not to be, as that will be the question, and the answer is not to be.
Yeah, they're just dominating these fights. Only lose one supports last couple of fights. They try to go on Taiga. Shadow Realm gets out of the trouble. Again, DM with the Doom and Morphling popping off in every single fight. He's just completely uncontested. They cannot kill him. And Yuragi understands that, and now going more into physical damage. At least that's what queued up. Could potentially get like a Silver Edge to be able to break Dragonite and break Chaos Knight if you want some like cheap damage from Crystallis. Could still change his mind. Road of Atos as well, Gleipnir against CK and the Illusions. We really haven't felt damage coming out from CK in these fights.
No, not at all. Laning phase maybe a little bit. Other than that, it really hasn't been the CK kind of game you're hoping for. 10,000 damage from him, but you look at the numbers from OG, and everybody but the Rubik out-damaging. So this is not going well for Watson. I wonder if maybe Morphling, like you said, maybe Silver Edge next, but if DM continues to get the experience at the rate he's going, he might just get Doom applies break.
Huh. It could. Yuragi's not messing around. Decides to pick up the shard for himself, so that means he's going to be able to get the shift off no matter what, even if he gets stunned.
Minute 45 till Roche. Toby up top, or sorry, down bottom. Up top mid. And he's going for the Hex. Just trying to rat a little bit.
Haven't really seen him do the ratting. All tier 2 towers are alive. Radiant using a scan. Let's see if it connects. Catches a glimpse of Yuragi, so they know something is up. Gem has been held by OG for quite some time now, so planting vision is kind of difficult. I don't think they have a single observer ward. Yeah, map is dark.
Yeah, DM's been holding this gem for a long time, and he just doesn't die, so he'll always have it. Smoke. Double damage. Ooh, picked up by Stormstormer. Blink in. Dragon Tail. Bramble Maze. Hook shot. Now the BKB. They go to the Doom. It's going to be thrown on a Stormstormer. Remnant over from BZM. They're going to get the kill on the Kataomi, but he's able to get away. They'll buy back on Chu. They'll take out Stormstormer. Now Watson. Can we feel the damage? Not really. As Yuragi's just going to stand his ground. They'll get the kill on a Fishman. The battle on top of Toby. They've got themselves the telekinesis to kill off Watson. They'll call GG. OG with a clean sweep 2-0. And they put themselves into the major tiebreaker tomorrow.
Whew. They made it look easy in this series. I was about to say they might just call it because they haven't pretty much done anything in the last 3 or 4 fights. It was always one support kill, and that's about it. OG completely dominated them in this game. Like, I love the picks in both of these games, and this Morphling pick in the end, it does work out. He carries the game, but so does BZM. I think all 3 cores played it amazingly. The way this bottom lane started for them, Taiga getting the first blood, and they pushed him out of the lane relatively early on, and then DM finds some really good dooms every single fight. Like this, the item build, I think it comes down to that, being able to join these earlier fights, 15-16 minute BKB, and he's not afraid of anything. In terms of damage that goes through BKB from Entity, there's none. They can't really stop him.
Yeah, it was really good early game from DM. I think OG overall as a team, they looked pretty great to get this 2-0. It really rolled out well for them. And now they're going on to the tiebreaker, right? Like, they're going to play for a major slot against OT. It's a big victory here for them, and even more deflating defeat for Entity. But, well, going to talk about the victory, going to talk about the series. We've got the panel. Back over to you guys.
OG, what a fantastic performance. I don't know where this team was this whole tour. They have really stepped it up in this last week when it's mattered the most. They've put themselves in a fantastic position now. Tiebreakers for a major slot. And off the back of such a dominant performance for everyone on the team. They all came together so well, T.
Yeah, for this game, at least from OG, it was a weird one, at least, because I think on face value, triple Midas or whatever, 2 Midas technically, 1 at the very end, it might look really bad. But against the lineup of Entity, you know, CK, after his punchy laning phase, you somewhat farm a little bit backwards. Nature's Prophet with his Ags, you know, you're chilling for a bit. DK, he went Blink Midas, so there was actually quite a lull in Entity's lineup where if OG is able to kind of play it correctly, they can be a bit greedy. And yeah, they just didn't take any dumb fights. They chilled, they farmed. DM did a lot of work. I think Tiger on this Willow was creating so many moves to give them this freedom to be a little bit greedier. But yeah, I think OG just read this game quite beautifully, and Entity just didn't really do much.
I don't know if I would necessarily like praise the Midases and everything. I think there's a lot to be said and a lot to want more from Entity and the way they're playing. Like, I think they made a ton of mistakes this match as well. But yeah, OG played well enough to be yet another team that 2-0's Entity. Unfortunately for Entity, because we all love Stormer here. We all love that team. We have some, you know, like a little bit of a bias towards them. They're the dark horse story for quite some time now. But yeah, OG definitely playing a little bit better this time around. Like, I expected, when I see Morphling just buying a Lincoln's, he has a Perseverance, right? And they're winning a team fight. I'm like, what's happening here? How is a Morphling with half of an item joining fights against a Prophet, a DK, and a CK, and they're winning fights still?
Yeah.
Like, something was off.
I would say the one thing that has been very consistent for this OG in this series that we haven't really seen too much in others was they knew where to be on the map. There's been so many times we've seen drafts be favorable for them and they just get a little bit lost. They don't really know where to go. I praised it in game 1 and I'm going to praise it again in game 2. Everywhere they were able to have great reactions to any initiations Entity had. They were the ones on the forefront for so many team fights. It was just beautiful from OG, and I think the way that they played, they could honestly almost make any draft work. Not that this one was a bad one, but I just think about we're going to be seeing them again. So
considering how the lanes went, which wasn't amazing, like they on the course they died 1 time each, so they definitely make it work. They didn't make any, like T said, they didn't make any
unnecessary
movements across the map where they get caught off, killed off. Like, everything seems like that was played during according to a plan. Like, everything was played according to a plan.
MVP, I want to put it out there. I think DM personally, you guys obviously can tell me I'm wrong. I'm always open to that one.
I'm low-key leaning Tiger, just because I think if you go back in the clips, there's a lot of moments where Tiger sets up a lot of plays. He's duking out in bot lane long enough to give DM some entry. He's moving to mid to give BZM that quick kill onto the, I think it was the CK in the end. So I think Tiger did a lot of like sleeper things where you don't really see it, but it's like he's doing a lot to give everyone else a game. But I'm also down for you to give it to someone else. It's fine, but
I'm always down for support, and Tiger was my close second if you guys were going to rebuttal DM.
Okay,
so.
okay. I'm happy to hear that. And Lizard, sorry.
You didn't get a say.
No vote. Who would you have given?
Yeah,
it to
who
then?
would you have?
Who would you have liked to see MVP? If it wasn't Tiger, maybe the 69% kill participation was really nice for you.
Oh, I like
Or maybe it was the
numbers,
6-9.
6 kills,
Yeah.
9 deaths. Sure, that's the score of an MVP for me. So definitely, why not? Or Taiga.
All
Let's
right.
go.
But who would it have been Tiger though, outside of these beautiful stats, or?
I mean, DM had an exquisite game on the Doom.
I feel like we really do have to
Yeah,
almost
he
50.
died.
We'll go 51% for Tiger MVP, 49% on Doom.
He died what, like once when he
Yep.
doomed the CK and the CK still continued chasing him, kills him in the Radiant jungle. I guess the only time he died. Besides that, everything was on point. Like a couple of times, but you know what my problem is? My problem is like I'm talking about. I'm hyping them up as I should, as we all should, because they just won an important series. For them. At the same time, his game was made easy for him at times, right? Like Stormer just jumps in, goes in for some Rubik in the river, gets like instantly
Yeah, it was
doomed
rough.
afterwards. Like
But these stats as well look pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, when you see the 86% kill participation from Doom, he also didn't fall victim to going media hammer first. He did go for just the old Midas into BKB blink. He made sure that he could be in front of the objective as quick as possible. Because with Entity's lineup, they kind of wanted to do that, but with DM playing with the old school Doom, not the new school Doom, he was actually able to do it a little bit quicker rather than going greed, and farm. So
and he wasn't shut down in the lane, which is
Yeah.
a really big deal.
I just like how he took team fights. That for me, that was like the main thing. Yeah, I know he did great in lane and stuff, but for me, it was the fights. We've seen so many Dooms before be off to good starts, and team fights still not go in the way of the team that picks Doom because they're dooming the wrong target. Maybe they have the wrong initiation, and you know whatever the team discussions are during the game. Massive props to DM to definitely always know who he should be dooming and really give them a massive
Whoever
advantage.
comes close first.
Yeah, at this point
how
it
it's
kind of
felt,
was,
yeah.
right?
But one thing that needs to be said is that DM is slotting into the team much better than we saw in the first couple of weeks of the DPC.
I mean, they're not aggro tri-laning. So
They're not aggro tri-laning, they're not doing any crazy movements. Like DM looks like he's in full comfort zone. In the first game on the Tidehunter, he was on point with all the Ravages. In the second game, the Dooms were on point. Like, nothing more to ask from him.
are they good enough though to beat Uradu Thunders in a tiebreaker tomorrow for the major? Do you
look-
think their improvements have been good enough?
You got to hold on to that one. You guys can think about it because
Thank you.
actually we have someone else to ask some questions
Ask
to.
it straight away. Go.
We have
First question.
Uragi joining us here for this winners interview. Uragi, congratulations. It was definitely a rough start for you guys in this tour, but you pulled out some big wins when it really matters. So how are you feeling about this win today and having to do tiebreakers against Oradu Thunders for the major slot?
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I'm feeling great. Feeling very excited for tiebreakers. Like, I think we got a really good chance going to major.
Yeah, I would
just
say
happy
so.
with our game.
I would say so too. You guys looking great. What has clicked, or what do you think has been a really big difference between the first 2 weeks of OG and now week 3 OG?
Well, maybe like the first games we played didn't have like the bootcamp turned out to be not so great, and we were working on some stuff, but like the main stuff we started working on is like our early game structure and all, and it happened after the bootcamp, so it took us time to get there. But yeah, pretty happy now with the state of the scene.
Yeah, I could imagine. You talked about doing the new stuff as well, working on certain things. We saw your Mirana Pose 1 come out. We got to ask Tiger a little bit, but I want to know from you, how often are you trying new things? Like, how often are you trying to make something like a Mirana Pose 1 work?
Well, I wouldn't say it happens often, but sometimes just have a feeling for a certain hero. You look at the draft, you look at enemy heroes, and you just think, whoa, this hero is free, like, game will just be free, and you pick it. It fits perfectly, usually.
Awesome.
All right, congratulations on the win, Uragi. How did you feel? Of course, you're playing Morphling, quite a scaling carry in the second game. You look towards BZM, he has a Midas. You look towards Doom, he has a Midas. How did you feel when, Tiger also picked up a Midas? Were you confident the entire time? Were they trying to convince you that it's good for the game, or was it just we know that they can't fight us right now, so we can be greedy? What was the vibes of this Midas shenanigans of Game 2?
I think we knew that we were doing like pretty well on both side lanes. and we knew that our draft like outscales theirs really hard. So there was some stress around the mid lane, but we fixed it and game went good.
Yep. Iragi, congrats once again on the win. When we talked to Taiga, he talked about your discipline, like the team has found it. Like, could you expand on that? Like, how disciplined are you as a team? Is it like, is everyone on point when the screams are there? Is someone slacking, being...
Oh no, he's already shaking his head.
Tell me, who is it?
It's actually me most of the time. So.
Oh,
Knew it.
there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this season I was just jet lagged for like a week after coming back from Lima, and then I had to fight the bootcamp, so it was some rough times, some problems with schedule. But everybody's trying to be disciplined now. I think we doing well.
Okay. And if there is one like father figure in the team, who is that? Like, who is reining in everyone? Like, when you guys start messing around, who is the one that says, "Okay, calm down, we need to work"? Is there such a player, or is it a coach?
I'd say Misha. Yeah, Misha helps us a lot in this regard. It can be Tommy, can be me, can be Dima. Everybody can do it, I think, this team.
Okay, so at times, right, it changes. One last question from me. How are you preparing for the tiebreaker? Last seasons, they were excruciating. Is there some ritual that you're going to take, or just sleep, have good night, and go for it?
Yeah, we'll try to get a penalty for our game. I think we have 100% win rate. So I think we got one, actually. I think we got one.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, thanks for giving us the forewarning.
All right. Final question from me. Of course, you guys contending for the major now, Division 1, staying there. It's going to be good, going to be great for OG. Are you excited to potentially play against Old G in Tour 3 if they make it to Division 1? Are you excited for that potential series? Are you going to smack them back down to Div 2? Like, what's the vibe? Are you the real guy? Like, come on, give me some vibes here. Are you scared of these guys coming up again? Like,
I mean, we're beating the shit out of them in scrims. So.
yeah, let's go. That's what I want to hear. All right, thank you, Ragi.
I love it. I actually also have one last question I want to ask you. I feel like I don't really get to talk to you too much, Iragi, but I want to know, how would you describe yourself as a carry? Like, if someone didn't know about you as a carry Dota player, how would you describe yourself and your style?
I don't know. It's a rough question. I'd say I'm very intuitive, but so I don't know. Rough question.
All right. Well, I'll let you think on it. Hopefully, we'll get another winner's interview with you, and you can answer that one again for me. But congratulations on this one, and good luck in the tiebreakers tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Congrats.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Good luck.
Damn. All right.
I love that we're getting scrims insider information, slapping down.
Beating the shit out of them. That's what. I've not had that much emotion from Uragi at any point. All of his questions were very stoic, very clean. And then as soon as I bring up OG, he's like, there's a little bit of fire. I like it. It's cool. I mean, it's just memes at the end of the day. So, yeah. Awesome.
And it might not even happen. You don't know how Division 2 is going to play out, but Division 2 doesn't start for a couple more days. However, we are at the end of Division 1. Entity versus OG was our last series for the regular season. Let's check out our leaderboard to see where all the teams face up against each other now.
Is this it?
Liquid, yeah. Liquid secured #1, but we said at the start of today, no matter who came out on top or who was going to lose, there was going to be 3 sets of tiebreakers. And when we look at this leaderboard, Gaming Gladiators versus Tundra is 1 tiebreaker for second, third. Now we know it's going to be OG up against Ooredoo Thunders. It's a best of 3 tiebreaker for that final major slot. And then it's Entity, Manaspa, Nigma Galaxy in a 3-way tiebreaker. Best of 1 for 1 Division 1 slot. God, that's a lot of ones. And this is the schedule, if you want to know.
Yes, let's go.
It starts tomorrow, so there isn't much of a break, and it's going to be starting so much earlier than we've had for the whole Tour 2 so far. Tundra and Gaming Gladiators starting at 1 p.m. CEST. That's a best of 3. It is going to then be OT versus OG, starting at... Actually, the time doesn't really matter. It's a rolling schedule. That's right, you guys heard it here. It's going to be a rolling schedule, but these are going to be the orders of the series. First one starting at 1 p.m. So if you don't want to miss a single game, I'd suggest you get here at 1 p.m. You sit your butt in your chair and you don't leave ever.
You just sit there.
And you would just enjoy.
And we're going to have...
You get fed entertainment.
infinite best of one tiebreaker as well for the last 3, so you're gonna sit in that lovely chair of yours forever.
At least 3 iterations of the WEU 1 3-way tiebreaker.
We've played 3 weeks of the DPC, 28 different series played, and only one team actually knows what position they finished in the DPC.
Sounds like a great schedule.
7 teams now need to enter tomorrow's gauntlet of tiebreakers. 2 best of 3s, 1 infinite tiebreaker. What a great system.
I mean, it's even more interesting that we only know the fate of 3 teams.
Nah, to be fair, I love the system.
Yeah.
It's great. I love tiebreakers.
Yeah.
I'm all down for this.
Whilst we know the position of one team, we do know 3 teams, that it's Tundra, Game, and Liquid going to be going to the major. So at least,
The
you know, one
important
of the
stuff we know, more or less.
Well, there's still 1 slot up, so it is crazy. You talk about how many series have been played, and yet it's only 3 teams that have their fate locked in already, and everyone else, it's still very much in the air.
Life is good for them.
Though,
Like,
right?
for those 3 teams, life feels amazing. They know that they're going to the major. For Ooredoo and OG, there's still a chance, and probably they're the most hyped about tomorrow, because for them, it's like if you win, you're going to a major. Of course, you're going to bring your A game, and then the last 3. I'm just worried for Entity really at this point.
They could easily
They
be
could
eliminated
easily
tomorrow.
be eliminated. They've lost now, what, 4 or 5 series 0-2 in a row. Like, these guys have forgotten how to win. Like, it's a real thing. Like, at some point, the tilt gets to you. They feel like OG in the first couple of weeks, but OG managed to get out of that. Entity right now, they're trying everything, and literally nothing works.
Yeah, well, if it doesn't work, then they'll have
Switch
to
it up.
Switch it up, or potentially have to find it in Division 2. It's going to be rough, but Manaspa, Nigma, and Entity, it's like, I could honestly see Manaspa being some, like, they are the best of 1 kings.
Yep.
Their Lycans, their random zoo stuff, like, they're the ones that, like, ha! You didn't respect us, we just beat you in 20 minutes. Or you beat them in 20 minutes and it's great because you played against Manaspa. Like, they're so
It's
volatile.
normal Dota. Like,
But I don't want to
see
play against them in a best of 1. Like, any team, it's like Liquid and Manaspa. 2 very different reasons, but yeah, Manaspa and best of 1's always fun to watch.
You know, the other exciting thing is there's actually only 1 region out of all DPC tours that don't have tiebreakers. So the Dota genuinely just never really stops. It's around the clock sort of thing. I know definitely here we have our Western Europe tiebreakers, we've got our China tiebreakers, we've got our NA tiebreakers, SA tiebreakers just occurred, and I know SEA have tiebreakers too. So it's just Eastern Europe that didn't have tiebreakers. It's been an eventful tour too, but it closes us out for today, guys. Any final thoughts or thoughts going into tomorrow? Because you won't be here on the first panel.
I won't, but I'll be here in spirit.
Woo!
because
I love
my
that.
Talent predictions for the day will also be on camera for that as well.
Oh, so you're not going to leak anything now?
No, because I already predicted OG would win today, so I don't want to get too excited and start predicting again and again and again.
Did you go OG? No, you went Entity.
Today?
Yeah.
No, he went
I
OG
went
as
OG.
well. We were the OG crew. Yeah.
We went OG.
Oh, I went OG too.
There you go.
Let's go. We all had stakes. Nice. All right, let's close out today. Everyone wants to jump to bed, but we also want to sleep so we can wake up for those tiebreakers tomorrow. Everyone enjoy the rest of your Sunday night or Monday morning, wherever you are, and we'll see you at 1 p.m. CEST.
Help me! He's doomed!
Go.
DK no BKB, go target, DK no BKB.
I'm on again, guys.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm following.
I'm on MP.
My boy, Come on.
Good shit, good rush.
Get more. Here.
Yeah, sure.
Help me.
I can follow.
Watch more, earn more. Full TV.